If you could choose an evolutionary sequence, which would you choose? Sequence 001 with regeneration abilities? Or the Archangel who can replicate and proliferate? Or the infinitely reproducing sequence 003 Queen? However, these powerful and bizarre creatures are all related to a cripple locked in China's most heavily guarded prison. Because I gained the ability to create sequences, I directly put the blood of the undead into the main slot. Then I put the simulated human skin and the man-eating flower into the sub-slot. After the yellow progress bar slowly filled up, a laboratory tube containing half a bottle of deep red liquid appeared in the system space. Fate reagent, effects unknown, for oral use. Looking at this half tube of strange liquid, I fell into silence for a moment. I still need to find a suitable test subject. At least someone who can get out of this prison. But for now, I can only focus on the warden. This wait lasted for several days. After searching secretly for nearly a week, I finally found a suitable target. Next to my cell, there is a warden specifically responsible for guarding special prisoners. His experiences make him desperately need power. His wife and son were killed by 3 ability users. He could only listen to the screams coming from the other end of the phone. It was originally just an ordinary night. But on this night, his happy family was suddenly completely destroyed. Those ability users are all beasts. Even if it costs me my life, I'll never let you guys have it easy. His fingernails dug deeply into his palms. Crimson blood instantly stained the ground red. Just then, a faint voice quietly sounded. Revenge? You're just going to throw away another life. Li Ran's gaze fixed on this seemingly sickly young man. My expression remained unchanged as I offered the chip that was enough to drive him crazy. I can give you the power to kill ability users. Li Ran's pupils instantly dilated. But this time it was because of shock. If it were someone else, he might have sneered. But the man in front of him was once the world's strongest ability user. He hesitated for almost no time, and knelt directly in front of me. As long as you can let me kill those beasts, I can pay any price. Even my life. I tossed the serum in front of him. Drink it, and you'll know what the price is. Li Ran didn't hesitate at all. He caught the half tube of red liquid, immediately tilted his head back and swallowed it. The moment it entered his mouth, the liquid actually surged upwards, pouring back into his brain. His head felt like it was about to explode. About 10 minutes passed. Li Ran finally stopped twitching. Head down. He stood up, swaying. It's over. Seeing this, I frowned instead, because the current Li Ran didn't look any different than before. Li Ran suddenly shuddered. The next moment, his entire head split open, like a blooming flower, splitting into several petals carrying the history of the manual. The corners of my mouth slightly turned up. Looks like it worked. Congratulations, host, for completing your first creation. Reward, a set of fine materials. Please name the anomalous sequence 001. I stroked my chin and thought for a while, slowly spitting out 2 words. Meal seed. Sequence 001. Meal seed. Initial level. Top of C grade. Possesses camouflage and rapid recovery. The ability to be immune to fatal wounds. As expected. Only C grade? But it's okay. I've acquired new items now. It should be enough for me to create a better one. Then I added 30 attribute points to rapid recovery. Fatal wound immunity is good. But I only have 150 creation points in total. I can only enhance it later. After I finished this series of things, Li Ran has regained control of his body and returned to his original appearance. The scene changes to 3 days later. 3 young men who look like young masters walk out of the alley. At this moment, the 3 are still talking and laughing. That girl just now was very juicy. You killed my wife and children? A figure wrapped in a black robe appears in front of the 3. After seeing who it is, Wang Yankai and the others burst into laughter. I didn't expect you to actually come. Admirable courage. And your wife was very juicy. He became more and more enthusiastic, completely unaware of Li Ran's blood-red pupils. Since you've come to die, then I'll let your family reunite down below. Saying this, he emitted scorching flames, immediately heading towards Li Ran. The entire living room was filled with high-temperature flames, completely surrounding him. Wang Yankai curled his lip, turned around and gestured for the 2 behind him to leave. In his opinion, an ordinary person would surely die from his attack, even though his skin was sizzling from the burn. Li Ran didn't seem to notice at all. There wasn't a single expression on his face. Wang Yankai, unnerved by this strange scene, was drenched in cold sweat, just as he was about to add another attack to the man in front of him. Li Ran's head suddenly split into 5 petals. Countless thorns each one less than a hair's breadth from his head. A terrified scream echoed through most of the district. Wang Yankai collapsed directly onto the ground. The thigh area of his pants, visibly soaked in a large patch. Monster, a monster. Don't eat me. The crisp sound of bones breaking rang out. As the petals opened and closed, only a headless corpse remained. The remaining two were completely terrified. Turning tail, they fled without a second thought. Li Ran's head returned to its original form, but still remained unfazed. The next moment, his two palms transformed into guillotines. His forearms stretched like rubber, and suddenly shot out from behind the two figures, until their consciousness faded away. The corners of their mouths still held puzzled expressions. Weren't the aberrant beasts supposed to be gone? Why? I watched everything happening around Li Ran on the information panel. Peak C rank is not bad. Plus the ability to ignore fatal injuries. He can withstand a few rounds against an ordinary B rank ability user. But the method is a bit too crude. He didn't clean up the loose ends. I guess those guys will come knocking on the door soon. Sequence 001 Ginseng Seed. Killed 3 F rank ability users. Gained 3 creation points. So, this can also earn creation points. But only 1 point for F rank. Looks like the system is specifically targeting ability users. Looking at the 3 material packs of different qualities neatly arranged inside. The corners of my mouth slightly turned up, revealing a slightly expectant curve. It's time to welcome new members too. The 3 material packs in the backpack were opened one by one. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a white paper umbrella, gene blood, dark matter. What will these things synthesize? The scene changes to the other side. Wang Haoshan looks furious, just about to answer the phone, to give the caller a good scolding. When he heard the caller's name, his anger turned into a smile. He went from being a father to a grandson, all smiles. Chairman, how do you have time to call your subordinate today? There are suspected alien beasts in the old urban area under your jurisdiction. 3 ability users died last night. One of them is your son. Wang Haoshan's eyes turned bloodshot. The veins on his neck bulged. How is that possible? Chairman, wasn't it said before that the alien beasts had been completely eliminated? How could there still be an alien beast now? I know you're grieving for your son, but this incident happened in your jurisdiction, and is related to you. So, you will investigate this matter. I accept this task. Wang Haoshan suppressed the grief in his heart. He said with bloodshot eyes, I don't care if he's human or a ghost. When I find him, I will tear him to pieces. Meanwhile, on the other side, Li Ran was drinking at the bar. Actually, he could completely not return to the 9th prison right now. He could be free and unfettered outside. Those trapped in the prison seem unable to do anything to him. But for some reason, ever since Li Ran drank that potion, he hasn't had a single thought of betrayal. But at this moment, Wang Haoshan has locked onto his location. Looking at the red dot on the map, his face instantly became extremely ferocious. However, for all of this, Li Ran, not far away, is completely unaware. Slightly dizzy from drinking, he swayed as he stood up. His eyes slightly blurred, he walked towards the bar door. Just as his feet were about to step out the door, a vaguely rising sense of crisis made his heart instantly tense. Li Ran's drunkenness instantly disappeared. His body also paused for half a second unconsciously, just as he thought it was his illusion. The next moment, a huge explosion sounded, and a pair of iron fists, as if burnt red, crashed down from the air like cannonballs. The ground that was smashed and dented was precisely the area he was about to step into. It's you. Who killed my son? Seeing that the person in front of him had not reacted for a long time, Wang Haoshan snorted coldly. He directly punched Li Ran's head. The punch came extremely suddenly, giving Li Ran no time to react at all. But as a sound of bones breaking rang out, Li Ran's mind instantly went blank. Fresh blood gushed out from his 7 orifices. So strong. Struggling to regain a bit of consciousness, Li Ran used this force to control his body and retreat several meters. If it weren't for the immunity to fatal injuries, this god-level skill, just based on that punch from the opponent, I would probably already be innocently dead. A mere C rank can actually withstand one of my punches? It seems you are indeed not ordinary. His current level is only peak C rank. After these few minutes, the spiritual energy in his body is almost depleted. He must find a way to escape quickly. But just as he was about to make a move, a scorching hot hand suddenly appeared and grabbed his arm. Since I can't kill you, then I'll tear your body apart piece by piece and see if you can still grow back. That sword-wielding arm came to rest in Wang Haoshan's hand. Just for a moment, Li Ran watched his own arm completely turn into a piece of rubber. More importantly, Wang Haoshan found a way to completely kill him. What? Are you getting anxious now? As he spoke, his left hand shot out again like lightning. This time directly and firmly grabbing Li Ran's head. Wang Haoshan roared. Just as he was about to exert force, he suddenly felt a strange chill. A semi-transparent ghostly figure had appeared out of nowhere and was rapidly crashing towards his forehead. The moment he was invaded by the ghost, Wang Haoshan seemed to lose his soul. His pupils briefly began to dissipate. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Li Ran shook off Wang Haoshan's palm and immediately flew back tens of meters. Only then did he notice a white figure had appeared beside him out of nowhere. It was a girl dressed in simple white clothing, with a slightly slender figure. In her right hand, she held a plain white ancient paper umbrella. Did you save me? When he saw the girl's face clearly, he realized that he actually knew this girl in front of him. Are you Big Brother Bai's daughter? Bai Linger? A slight curve lifted on Bai Linger's somewhat sickly face. Slowly nodding. Uncle Li. Uncle Li. Long time no see. How did you get out of the hospital? Didn't Big Brother Bai say you had cancer? Bai Linger saw Li Ran's concerns and smiled faintly. Her delicate face instantly became like a gardenia flower, arousing pity. Uncle Li. My cancer has been completely cured by that lord. Now we are the same kind of people. Now I am sequence 002. Pseudo scatter. Hearing these words, Li Ran suddenly realized, and his pupils, looking at Bai Linger, were full of complexity. Li Ran sighed deeply. He didn't know if this meant he had saved Bai Linger or harmed her. Hearing this sigh, Bai Linger guessed what Li Ran was thinking. Rather than waiting for death to come in a hospital bed, I'd rather pay this price to gain the freedom to walk out of the ward. You're right, Uncle Li has been overthinking it. If it weren't for that lord, I'm afraid I would still be powerless to avenge them, mother and son. Let's talk later. That guy woke up. I'll take care of him first. As the words fell, he took a step forward, holding that seemingly fragile white paper umbrella high above his head. The next moment, Bai Linger twisted her jade hand. The pure white paper umbrella lightly blossomed between heaven and earth. Under Li Ran's gaze, a stream of dark, thick liquid actually began to flow out from the bottom of that paper umbrella. Soon, that plain white dress was instantly stained black. When Bai Linger opened her eyes again, her black pupils had turned blood red. Who exactly are you? The previous inexplicable loss of control over his body had already made him wary of the suddenly appearing girl in front of him. Bai Linger licked her lips with her blood-red tongue and gave a sickly laugh. I'm not human. You can call me Ghost Umbrella. Suspended in the air. You're peak B rank. Wang Haoshan was immediately shocked. No longer with his previous arrogant words. He was only seen holding the white paper umbrella, gently turning it. The arc of the corner of his mouth was strange. The face became increasingly eerie. White eeriness blooms. Soul-snatching chains. Before Wang Haoshan could react, 6 chains, half real and half illusory, suddenly emerged from the ghost gate and swarmed towards him like mad. The next moment, the flames attached to his body blazed a full 10 feet high, like forming a barrier trying to block the 6 iron chains. However, all this resistance was futile in Bai Linger's eyes, because what he was attacking was not the flesh, but the soul. The moment the soul was completely separated from the body, with a thud, the pupils of Wang Haoshan's physical body completely lost their light. His limp body fell to the messy ground. Bai Linger sent the constantly wailing soul to Li Ran. Uncle Li, this is for you. Looking at the soul being handed over, Li Ran was also a bit confused for a moment. The master said that absorbing this guy's soul should be able to break through to B rank. Under Wang Haoshan's incredulous gaze, his left hand was regained, bringing a rare smile to Li Ran's face. The white paper umbrella closed again. Bai Linger also turned back into the frail and quiet young man he once was. And next, the two still had other things to do. That is to destroy the Jiangnan Entertainer Association. Completely take control of Jiangnan. Hearing Chen Linyu's plan, Li Ran was immediately shocked by this huge ambition. It won't just be the two of us, right? Bai Linger smiled faintly. Then she raised her jade hand. A dark purple something suddenly appeared between her easy fingers. Seeing this kind of similar potion, Li Ran quickly knew what it was. That lord told us to find someone to drink it ourselves. That person will be our new partner. Li Ran's expression was a little hesitant. Are there any other requirements? The lord said it must be a woman, and preferably a more mature one. Hearing this requirement, Li Ran's eyes twitched slightly. It feels like. This is more like the preference of the lords in front of the screen. Just as she was racking her brains over this, a firm voice suddenly rang out from the bar behind them. Can I try it? Entering the eyes of the two is a beauty with a height of more than 1.7 meters. Looking slightly aloof, although Mu Wan appeared calm, Bai Linger and the other still easily heard the tension in her words. What just happened? You saw everything. Mu Wan was strong. Although he was scared, he gritted his teeth and nodded. I've been hiding in the tavern. After drinking this stuff, can it make me as strong as you? Bai Linger was a little surprised and stunned. She obviously didn't expect the other party to ask that. Then she nodded. Mu Wan didn't hesitate at all. He resolutely drank it all in one gulp. In the other party's pupils, Bai Linger saw a kind of desire, the same as she had back then. But what Mu Wan desired, no one knew. If he wants to drink it, let him drink it. It's the same whoever drinks it anyway. It'll save the two of us from looking for someone else. As soon as he finished speaking, he opened the stopper of the test tube without hesitation. He closed his eyes tightly, tilted his head back and poured the purple liquid in. Mu Wan suddenly let out a shrill scream. He collapsed directly onto the ground. He curled up with his face down, and every part of his body was trembling violently. A sound of flesh being pierced by a sharp object rang out. It was hair-raising. And immediately after that, the same sound rang out again and again, filled with anger. Towards Mu Wan's back, 8 terrifying spider legs slowly grew out. White spider silk began to spread from these spider legs to all parts of Mu Wan's body. When Mu Wan suddenly raised her head, revealing a bizarre face with 6 eyes. Creation complete. Please name the anomalous sequence 003. Looking at the image transmitted in my vision, I stroked my chin. Let's call it anomalous sequence 003. Pig Queen has been successfully entered into the anomalous archive. Possesses the ability of rapid reproduction, danger perception, and neurotoxins. Initial level, intermediate Bai. Seeing this, I fell into contemplation. When creating this reagent, the materials used were actually the same as number 002. But Ghost Scatter's initial level was peak Bai, while Pig Queen is only intermediate Bai. But the rewards obtained are consistent with the last time. Could it be due to Pig Queen's skills? Because Pig Queen's main body is not actually the primary means of attack. The real killing move are those filled with poison. Spider egg sacs that can reproduce a large area in a short time. This is also when I synthesized this reagent. The idea of the creature's abilities through the synthesized materials. The danger perception skill is good. It can vaguely sense impending danger. Immediately, I opened my attribute panel. I copied danger perception onto my abilities. Sequence 000, God of Creation. Name, Chen Lingyu. Level, 5. Currently, I can inherit up to the peak of Beej. Actually, I've always been able to inherit the realm level of the strange. The reason I haven't made a move is because this mere peak Beej cultivation is simply not enough to help me. After all, this is the most heavily guarded prison in all of China. I still need to keep the 2 high-quality material packs I have on hand. Once those 3 guys complete their mission, I can really make a big move. As long as I can get one that breaks through Beej, the chance of escaping will be much greater. It all stems from a few days ago, when the system suddenly released a mission. Control any one of the 36 metropolises of the Azure Empire, and you can unlock a new function. Creation Shop. The scene changes to the other side. Mu Wan used her spider sense to scout the entire building, determining the number and strength of the ability users. No level 1 ability users were found. Combat power above Beej totaled only 5 people. The strongest, like Gui San, is at the peak of Beej. Soon, Bai Lianer arranged a plan. She's responsible for holding back the 2 strongest. The remaining 3 will be dealt with by Li Ran and Zhu Hu. Licking her sweet lips with a wooden bowl, a strange smile appeared on her face. Don't worry, this kind of thing is my specialty. In the next moment, snow-white spider silk gushed out frantically, quickly supporting an oval-shaped, giant silk cocoon in the corner of the ceiling. This white cocoon seemed to be given life by the light of demonic arts. The surface quickly began to surge violently, visible to the naked eye. Every moment, spiders with dark green venom sacs on their backs, looking quite kawaii, bit through the silk cocoon and swarmed out. These venomous spiders were only about 8 palms in size each, but counting them, there were nearly 10,000 of them. And with just her command, the reception room could be turned into a city of poison. Any ability user hit by it would die instantly, eaten to death with no hope of survival. Meanwhile, on the other side, The chairman and his secretary were panting and trying to remove the dancing drug. After only 2.5 minutes, they completely collapsed. Little did they know that a great disaster was about to befall them. Just as the chairman and his secretary opened the door to the office, a spider was hanging in front of the door. In an instant, the spider's venom exploded. The secretary screamed continuously, but it only lasted for 2 seconds. Her body was completely corroded into a charred carpet, and she was silenced. Seeing this sudden scene, Lu Haiqing's expression changed drastically. He stood up abruptly. Countless poisonous spiders were distributed in every corner of the association, blocking everyone's escape routes. Lu Haiqing quickly realized that behind these poisonous spiders, there must be a manipulator. What kind of villain dares to attack my ESP association? Get out here. Bai Linger floated in the air as if taking a stroll. The aura she emitted made Lu Haiqing, of the same level, widen his eyes. Guo Zhao. The wall flute is attacking. All B-level espers in the association, come out and resist. Then, a figure holding a spear leapt onto the roof. Yang Wuxi. Why are you the only one? Where are the others? When Lu Haiqing realized that 2 people were restraining the other 3, he immediately understood. What? There are still 2? Before the 2 could recover, they suddenly felt a dazzling sensation. Then they arrived in a dark space, filled with a sense of decay and death. Welcome to my ghost domain. If you want to get out of here, the only way is to kill me. Seeing this blatant provocation, Lu Haiqing, who had already been tricked once before, completely lost it. Clearing tomb burial. Accompanied by a roar, tall and sturdy ancient tombs rose into the sky between the gaps. Grave attribute ability user. All power originates from plants. As long as there are plants nearby, they can act like a turret, launching attacks continuously. But this is the ghost realm, devoid of life. The color of Lu Haiqing's exposed scales has inexplicably started to fade quite a bit. Bai Lin lightly smiles. Next, let me properly welcome you 2 distinguished guests. In the next instant, countless coffins are pushed open. Countless ghosts crawl up from the ground. Lu Haiqing controls the forest beneath his feet, immediately creating a dense barrage of wooden thorns. These wooden thorns actually pass right through the ghosts' bodies, failing to cause any damage at all. Damn it. These things are immune to physical damage. Use spiritual energy. Sure enough, under the attack of spiritual energy, the ghosts quickly vanish into thin air. But this is not good news either, because the number of ghosts is simply endless. If this continues, sooner or later, the 2 of them will be exhausted to death due to the depletion of their spiritual energy. Then there's only one way left, and that is to destroy its main body. 2 martial artists and 4 guns combine into one. Like a cannonball, they soar into the sky. After several exchanges, its spiritual power is about to be exhausted. Is this the first time you felt this kind of complete powerlessness? The last trace of spiritual power in Lu Haiqing's body was completely drained. Amidst a heart-wrenching scream, she was instantly devoured by countless ghosts. Bai Linger waved her hand, and Lu Haiqing's soul was caught in her hand, accompanied by a swallowing sound. Bai Linger half closed her beautiful eyes, and a satisfied smirk immediately appeared at the corner of her mouth. An aura dozens of times more powerful than before suddenly burst forth from the Fiend Stone, spreading throughout the entire ghost domain. Yang Wuxi's eyes were filled with shock. It was actually the early stage of level 1. But what shocked her even more was that the method of leveling up by devouring souls was unheard of. She often exhaled a breath, as if preparing herself mentally. Bai Linger slowly extended her fair hand, reaching towards Yang Wuxi through the void, gently grasping, slowly kicked into the air. Just at this crucial moment, suddenly, a rather atmosphere-breaking sound rang out. Her phone rang. When the phone fell out of it, she inadvertently saw the figure inside, and her eyes showed a few inexplicable oddities. Then, under Yang Wuxi's surprised gaze, she waved her hand and dispelled the ghost domain. Get out of Zhongnan immediately from now on. Don't step in here again. Yang Wuxi was stunned. Then, after reacting, his face was full of disbelief. But without time to think, he fled from here. Looking at Yang Wuxi's departing back in the scene, my gaze became deep. Presumably the person on the other end of the phone is someone Bai Linger knows, and they have a fairly good relationship. But it doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't affect my plan, let her be. Congratulations on completing the novice growth mission. The current creation shop is now open. Unexpectedly, the creation shop does not sell material packs, but directly sells bizarre materials of various grades. There are a total of 6 item slots. Each item slot contains a bizarre material of random grade. And every other day, the 6 bizarre materials in the creation shop will be refreshed. Perhaps because it's the first time opening the creation shop. What catches my eye is a dazzling purple epic level material. The fallen angel's wings look pretty good. This substitute puppet can also be taken. After doing these things, I then opened the remaining 2 excellent grade material packs. Poem of Pressure. Heart of Stone. The sequence I want to create this time has a special purpose. This second material is clearly not suitable. I have to turn my attention back to those 3 excellent grade materials in the shop. The weird material face-sucking powder requires 40 creation points. That's it. I put the pulling poem, face-sucking powder, and the substitute puppet together. Then I clicked fuse. After the progress bar finished, a bottle of black potion appeared in my hand. Who should I look for next? After thinking, I called Bai Shan, who had been guarding Li Ran for me. When Bai Shan saw me, he carefully went to a blind spot in the surveillance. Showing great respect. Lord, what are your orders? I handed over the second potion. I need you to do something for me. Drink this. Wen Yan. Bai Shan took it, and a look of joy immediately appeared on his face. Thank you, Lord. He didn't hesitate at all. Opened the lid, and immediately poured the pitch black, foam-like liquid into his mouth. The pain of the body's weird transformation was as before. But Bai Shan endured it with his will. He didn't even make a sound. Bai Shan's facial features. It has already become a one-eyed puppet. At the same time, a raven as black as ink landed on his shoulder. Its expression was extremely lively, as if it possessed human nature. I didn't realize until the voice came out that the one speaking was actually the raven on Bai Shan's shoulder. So that's how it is. How magical. I quickly understood. The real Bai Shan has already become that raven. And the original human body has been replaced by that substitute puppet. Creation complete. Please name the anomalous sequence 004. Looking at the magical scene before me, I rubbed my chin. Let's call it Poison Raven. Unique sequence 004, Poison Raven. Successfully recorded in the anomalous archive. Initial level, B class, mid-tier 7. Replicable abilities, Shadow Raven Summon. Shadow Raven Substitute. Acting. After reading the detailed ability analysis, I realized that Shadow Raven Summon and Shadow Raven Substitute are actually 2 complementary skills. The former summons the Shadow Raven, and the latter can use the Shadow Raven to replace a person's body. In other words, as long as I exchange these 2 abilities, I can immediately escape this prison. But actually, thinking about it carefully, it's better to be conservative. The number of strong individuals hidden in this capital is countless. With just this bit of foundation, we might not even be able to get out of this place. If we try to break out, it might give others a chance to completely silence us. It's better to send out the number 5 potion earlier. That way, we might be able to speed up the progress. Then, I tossed another platinum potion in my hand. Towards Baishan. Take this potion to Modu and find someone. Let him drink it. Baishan lowered his head. He calmly said, "Don't worry, sir." Then a shadow raven appeared on his shoulder. His eyes gradually became brighter. His physical body seemed unchanged. But in reality, he had been unknowingly replaced by a puppet. Baishan, transformed into a raven, holding the number 5 potion, spread his wings, and flew out of the 9th prison towards the sky. Because of the effect of face-changing ability, there were no aura fluctuations on him. He was just like an ordinary raven, not attracting any attention. The scene changes to the headquarters of the Ability User Association. A hurried figure quickly walked up to Ling Longtian. "President, something bad has happened. Something big happened." But before he could speak, he was met with a barrage of reprimands. "How many times have I told you? Don't disturb me during my lunch break." Hearing these harsh scoldings, the person seemed to have swallowed a mouthful of shit. Difficult to swallow, disgusting to spit out. Ling Longtian's morning grumpiness was mostly gone. He asked with a serious face, "Speak. What exactly happened?" "The Zhongnan Abilities Association. We've completely lost contact. If nothing unexpected happened, they should have been wiped out. The beginning was a bombshell. It completely wiped away Ling Longtian's sleepiness. He almost stood up from his seat. How is that possible? Who would dare be so bold? It's those lunatics. According to our investigation, the one who attacked Zhongnan was an unknown force. And only one person survived this incident." Ling Longtian's pupils immediately lit up. "Who is it?" "The vice president of the Zhongnan Abilities Association, Yang Wuxi." Ling Longtian frowned. "It's that troublemaker. Where is he now?" "After leaving Zhongnan, he went all the way to Modu." Then, a slight curl of the lips, revealing a devilishly cold smile. "Just running to see that cripple. What deep sibling affection. Notify him to turn around and come to the capital immediately. If he dares to disobey, let Han Xiao personally bring him back. At this moment, young Wu Si has returned home. He rushed to see his sister lying on the hospital bed as soon as possible. When he first saw his sister's miserable state, he really wanted to settle the score with Chen Linyu. But when he learned the fate of this legendary figure, he realized that everything was because of the so-called Esper Association. In front of the simple hospital bed, young Wu Si saw a cold and beautiful face. Only the faint heartbeats could prove that this wasn't a corpse. After everyone left, in the darkness, an ordinary crow flew over and landed on the windowsill of the ward. After a burst of black mist, Bai Shan's figure had quietly stepped into the room. Standing in front of young Wenjian's hospital bed, he fed her every last drop of the potion in the bottle filled with white gold liquid. Made him drink it, perhaps anticipating the other party would make a lot of noise. Bai Shan immediately used his ability after doing all this to shield all sound and breath from this area. Sure enough, just a few seconds later, young Wenjian's body began to convulse. The sound of bones reorganizing came from inside his body. The next moment, white bones emerged from under young Wenjian's skin. The number clearly exceeded that of a normal human being. In less than 10 seconds. Except for his cheeks, the flesh and blood on young Wenjian's body had been completely replaced by countless white bones. That head of dark, embroidered hair also turned saintly white in the blink of an eye. A pair of white bone wings also began to sprout wings. Just like that, a bizarre angel composed entirely of white bones appeared before Bai Shan's eyes. Creation complete. Please name the bizarre sequence 005, host. I didn't hesitate this time. I quickly said the name I had already prepared. Ancient Angel. Bizarre Sequence 005. Ancient Angel has been successfully entered into the Bizarre Archive. Congratulations, host, for creating an S-level Bizarre Sequence. Reward, Epic Material Pack +1. Premium Material Pack +2. Creation Points +1000. Replicable Ability. Attempting to convert. Wrath of Angels. Angelic Divine Gear. Realm of the Slothful Angel. Yang Wenjian finally slowly opened his eyes. Who are you? Why did you save me? What did you give me to drink? Although he couldn't move in the hospital bed, he still retained consciousness. He could feel everything happening around him. The Lord only asked me to bring you a message. After you hear it, you will naturally understand everything. Little Yangtze, you're really popular. The familiar voice entered his ears. Instantly, young Wenjian's body shook violently. It's the captain. You know the captain? If the captain you're talking about ended the war, then that should be the Lord. Wen Yen. Yang Wenjian immediately revealed a face full of joy. Take me to see him quickly. Facing Yang Wenjian's expectant gaze, Bai Shan shook his head helplessly. Sorry. I'm afraid that's impossible. Because the captain is now in the Esper prison. Yang Wenjian had thought of 1,000 reasons. But he never expected this. Before, he was just an ordinary person at the bottom of society. How would he know these things? I only know that this is the Esper Association president. Lin Longtian's personal announcement. Originally, Yang Wenjian was a little puzzled. But after hearing this name, he instantly understood all the reasons behind it. Because he has suffered a lot from Lin Longtian's disgusting behavior. Lead the way. We're going to rescue the captain. Bai Shan's expression finally became serious. He shook his head firmly and refused. You can't go. The captain has his own arrangements. You have other things to do. And then at the fastest speed, rush to Jiangnan and meet with our people. After listening to Bai Shan's words, Yang Wenjian licked his lips with interest. Help me tell Captain. Your subordinate guarantees to complete the mission. Bai Shan nodded. He transformed and turned back into the crow from before. Before leaving, he plucked one of his own feathers and handed it to Yang Wenjian. You can contact me through the feather. The captain's methods are quite magical, but it's not the first time. He chuckled to himself. Another life saved. He smiled nonchalantly. He stretched and walked towards the door of the ward. He walked out. 100 kilometers above Jiangnan. A guardian dreadnought is rapidly approaching. Windlaw squad, assemble. After the voice sounded, it wasn't long before the figures appeared neatly in front of the man. This mission. You will serve as squad leaders. Each of you will lead 2 team members to form a 3-person squad. Feng Sun saw a figure in the crowd again. After hesitating for a moment, he added another name. Ling Feng. The 3 people whose names were called stepped out of the line. Except for Ling Feng's slightly furrowed brow. The other 2 had expressions of excitement and joy on their faces. After leaving, Ling Feng took out from his pocket That bead, already burning hot. The crisis orb issued a warning again. And the reaction was so strong. This mission would probably be extremely dangerous. He swallowed. The sense of crisis in his heart constantly made him restless. In fact, he wasn't from this planet. But a year ago, he transmigrated here because of some mysterious game. In that game called Weird Tower, he had to start from the bottom of a black tower, constantly issuing challenges upwards. Each time he defeated a floor's monster, Ling Feng would receive a corresponding special reward. Like this crisis orb. It was the special reward he got after defeating the third floor's boss, Zhu Hushi. Thanks to his superb gaming talent, Ling Feng broke through level after level, until the fifth floor. An unbeatable monster finally stopped him. He still clearly remembered that stunningly beautiful woman, named Ancient Angel, with just one move, sent him to the afterlife. Ling Feng originally thought this was just an ordinary game. If he died, he could just start over. But he never expected. When he opened his eyes again, we have already arrived in this otherworldly continent called Blue Star. It was precisely thanks to those 4 treasures that Ling Feng's strength soared in a short time, quickly attracting the attention of the higher-ups. Now he has cultivated to the peak of B-grade level, only one step away from becoming a superior esper. Since he is the protagonist, he definitely has the protagonist halo. He won't die so early. As long as I am careful enough, there shouldn't be any problems. The scene changes to another side. A team arrives at the Zhongnan base. A normal team of 500 people quickly divides into 50 teams on the ground, starting a comprehensive carpet search of the entire Zhongnan area. Sending these ordinary people here is undoubtedly a death wish. But they cannot disobey orders. Soon they came to a dilapidated ruin. It is filled with all kinds of foul smells. After a moment, one after another, hanging upside down in the air, white cocoons woven from thin silk appear in everyone's sight. Before everyone could react, dense crowds of spiderlings crawled out of the white cocoons, accompanied by screams. The team heading to the ruins of the Esper Association. Upon hearing the news, Susan Bay waved her hand impatiently. Have we obtained the enemy's strength and numbers? It is currently known that this alien beast has strong toxicity. The levels are generally between C and 1. The number is estimated to be around 200 to 300. Hearing the other party's analysis, Su Baishan's swordsman body froze slightly. A perverted smile with a hint of excitement appeared on his face. Just a bunch of bugs. Let me have my fun hacking at them first. Immediately go with the other captain. Only Lin Feng and his party remained in the command room. At this time, Lin Feng's eyes were fixed on the video on the screen, looping it over and over again. His mind went blank. This spider is exactly the Spider Queen from the 3rd floor of the tower game he played in his previous life. Located on the 3rd floor, the Spider Queen. Proficient in using attack methods. Although he knows the Spider Queen boss's weakness. If the 4 bosses gather together, I'm afraid it will directly upgrade to hell difficulty. Anyway, there are still people ahead helping me test the waters. It wouldn't hurt to go take a look. If I can't beat them, I'll just find another opportunity in the future. The scene changes to the other side. Bai Linger and the others are discussing a battle plan. Bai Shan said with a serious expression, it's a bit much. 6 came in total. 2 are grade A. 4 are grade B. Wen Yan. Bai Linger, on the contrary, breathed a sigh of relief. This isn't much to fear. As long as the S-grade ability user the adults mentioned doesn't come. Leave the 2 grade A ones to me. Kill as many of the remaining 4 as you can. Just then, a deafening explosion suddenly came from a distance. The aura was quickly located. Bai Linger and the others, whose aura was obviously different from ordinary people. Found you. Her pupils dilated instantly. Without thinking twice, she directly slashed at the room where Bai Linger and the other 3 were. Bai Linger, who had already opened her white paper umbrella, rushed out first. Her aura directly locked onto the 2 most powerful enemies. White Ghost Jade open. A huge ghost gate crashed down from the sky, smashing down in front of Su Baishan and Sun Yuxuan, who had just arrived, instantly pulling the 2 unprepared people into the ghost gate. 3 against 4, and the opponents are 4 grade B. There's only one on this side. Judging from strength, Li Ran's side is absolutely at a disadvantage. But the battle situation after the fight is exactly the opposite. Relying on the 3 people's strange methods, they managed to gain the upper hand in the battle. On the other side of Bai Giu, Bai Linger's situation wasn't good. She had only just broken through to level 1. But the 2 people she pulled in happened to be ability users skilled in combat. A sword's cry cut through the air. Li Ran, who 4 ability users had been unable to defeat for so long, suddenly had an expression of pain flash across her face. Ling Feng descended from the sky, long sword in hand, as if knowing her weakness, and cleanly chopped off one of her arms. Although after breaking through to B level, Li Ran had gained the ability to regenerate. The tens of seconds it took for the arm to grow back was a fatal opening for her. Seeing reinforcements arriving from several directions, the faces of the 4 who had been suppressed all lit up with joy. Ling Feng's expression was clear, looking at Li Ran and the other 2 in front of him. The idea in his heart was finally confirmed. Panzong, Juhou, Gisan, and Duya. These are all bosses from that game. I didn't expect them to really appear here. Then, Ling Feng spoke out the weaknesses of several people one by one. The expressions of Li Ran and the other 2 became extremely clear. Who on earth is this person? How can he know our secrets so well? Bai Shan shook his head, looking at the 6 people who were closing in on them again. Meanwhile, Ling Feng stepped into the Ghost Gate stage, and abruptly appeared within Bai Linger's ghost domain. Her sudden appearance not only made Bai Linger's eyes widen, but even Su Baishan and the others were surprised and stunned. Come with me, let's talk outside. And just like that, Ling Feng and the others brazenly left the ghost domain, leaving behind a bewildered Bai Linger, stuck in place, watching Ling Feng's actions in the scene. I couldn't help but frown slightly. The other party's movements seemed to be extremely familiar with these creations. It even seemed that she possessed abilities similar to these creations of his. The system's usual notification sound rang. There is a connection request from the future. Do you want to connect? The moment the call was connected, the voice on the other end couldn't wait to ring out. But the other party's tone of voice made my face darken inexplicably. Can you be serious? The other end of the phone burst into laughter. So, I used to be this repressed? So much fun. Okay. Let's get down to business. What did you come to me for? Actually, it was an accident that I could contact you today. Just happened to kill a tail god with a fragment of a space-time divinity. Originally wanted to use this divinity fragment to make a toy, but life in the divine realm is too boring. So I came here to play with you, focusing my attention on those 2 keywords. Divine realm, divinity. What are those things? You're only just starting out. You don't need to know about these yet. The toy I prepared especially for you. You should have received it, right? This makes me confused. What toy? You have to take good care of that general manager Lin. He has an unformed divinity inside him. I spent a lot to get it for you. According to the level of your world now, when he reaches SSS rank, it should be about ready to be extracted and used. At that time, you will be able to create the first god in the true sense of the word. You can get some of his blood. For the current stage, it's also a good material. In short, that guy is a treasure trove. How you use him is up to you. Done. The timing is just right. Hope next time I see you, you won't be so repressed. Combining the other party's final words, I quickly extracted 2 of the most important pieces of information. First, Lin Feng is not some chosen one, but a gift prepared by my future self. For my current self. Later, I'll have to tell my subordinates, those aberrations, to be careful and give way a little. And not kill him off too early. Right. I need to get some blood first. My future self accepted his blood. It can be used as a material too. Just consider it collecting interest in advance. Saying this, I opened today's creation shop and discovered the 6 materials that were generated. At the same time, on the other side, Bai Linger and the others were locked in bitter battle. She raised her sleeve and casually wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth, turning her head to look at her companions, only to find that she was in the best condition of them all. If you had to say who was in the worst shape, it would definitely be Li Ran. After Lin Feng pointed out his weakness, Li Ran quickly had his limbs chopped off in the encirclement. Mu Wan wasn't doing much better, but fortunately, fewer people were attacking her. And coupled with her high level and health, she could hold on for a while. As for most people, all under Lin Feng's command, together, they grab 004-degree duck blood. After abandoning the puppet body, Bai Shan transformed into countless illusory shadow ducks, circling in the air, giving everyone a headache. Actually, if Bai Shan wanted to run, even the 2 extreme ability users present might not be able to stop her. But her daughter is still in danger. She would never run away, no matter what. As long as she can stall a little longer, and the 005 Ancient Angel arrives, all enemies will dissolve in the sunlight. Li Ran, who had been reduced to a human stump, lay on the ground, looking utterly despondent. When will this ever end? Beside her, A member of the Feng Sun team crossed their legs, looking completely carefree. Seeing that Li Ran's limbs had grown back halfway, she raised the knife in her hand and slashed down without hesitation. Only the sound of fierce energy piercing flesh and blood was heard. But Li Ran's limbs remained perfectly intact. She looked down at a snow-white ancient blade that had pierced through her chest. A B-level late-stage ability user was completely silenced just like that. Immediately following the appearance was a white-haired woman whose entire body was composed of bones. Allow me to introduce 005 Ancient Angel. At some point on the battlefield, 4 warriors forged from bones had appeared. All 4 monsters were topped with a skull head. They resembled skeleton soldiers from a game. Compared to Li Ran's shock, Yang Wenjian seemed indifferent. What's wrong? So surprised? After wiping out the Shanghai Superpower Association, I simply refined those few class-level corpses into these bone mirror tails. As his voice faded, Yang Wenjian ignored Li Ran, whose Dao heart was damaged. His figure flashed and instantly disappeared from the spot. On the other side, the sudden appearance of 4 bone mirror tails momentarily stunned everyone on both sides. Only Bai Shan, after seeing Yang Wenjian in the distance at a glance, immediately shouted with joy to Chao Bai Linger and Mu Wan. Our reinforcements have arrived. The members of the Feng Sun squad obviously heard her words as well. Their attacks, due to fear of harming innocents, immediately slowed down. However, upon seeing these 4 skeleton warriors, reacted the most strongly was Lin Feng, who led the siege on Bai Shan. These skeleton warriors. Not good. It's the monster from the 5th level. Thinking of the owners of these bone mirror tails. In the previous life's game, the pressure the 5th level boss brought her instantly returned. Damn it. Didn't I not clear the 5th level of the tower yet? How could the ancient angel appear in this world? Because when she first arrived here, there were only 4 monsters she had killed on the scene. This made Lin Feng subconsciously think only the monsters she had killed would appear. This is going to be bad. Even at the same level, I could never beat that monster now. Because in that game, her basic attributes were the same as each level's boss. But even so, back then, within minutes of entering the 5th level, she was without resistance, sent to this world with one strike. As if thinking of something, Lin Feng frantically took out a small pistol from her pocket, then pointed it vertically at the sky, and pulled the trigger without hesitation. Why are you firing a flare? It's just a few skeletons. So you're giving up on this mission score? Faced with the shock and questions of his teammates, Lin Feng didn't even need to explain. The momentum of 4A's concentrated late stage suddenly spread out fiercely. Without time to think, the others followed Lin Feng's example, pulling out signal guns and firing them into the sky. A round of bone spears were thrust out in unison. When they were retracted again, 4 corpses neatly appeared on the 4 spears. A whole major realm difference left these ability users who called themselves geniuses and elites with absolutely no chance to escape. Only Lin Feng, who was standing further away, after seeing this scene, immediately quietly made a hand seal. After making the hand seal, she casually took 2 steps forward, as if she had accidentally entered the attack range of the Bone Guards. The next moment, under another round of the Bone Guards' attack, Lin Feng was predictably pierced by a spear, and completely stopped moving. After running for who knows how long, she stopped with lingering fear. That was close. Luckily, there's still 1 substitute puppet left from clearing the 4th level. I need to leave quickly. I wonder if that guy Feng Sun can beat the Ancient Angel. Even the summoned Bone Guards have a 1 hit. That Ancient Angel must be at least a Lysk. So terrifying. Lin Feng swallowed. Dared not think further. Just as she was about to continue on her way, her body was suddenly lifted by an inexplicable force. A gentle yet terrifying voice rang in her ear. You're the first to run. Seems you know quite a bit. Sure enough, that ancient angel who left a huge shadow on her in her previous life had quietly appeared. The white bone blade directly pierced into Lin Feng's abdomen from behind. White knife in, red knife out. The intense pain made Lin Feng grimace. The blood flowing from her body dripped down the bone blade, falling right into the glass bottle prepared by Yang Wenjian. The captain didn't say how much was needed. More is better anyway. Just leave her with a breath of life. Sensing the loss of life, only despair remained in Lin Feng's pupils. Am I going to die? How could this happen? I am the protagonist. How could the protagonist die so easily? Suddenly, a commanding shout filled with coercion came from the air. A handsome young man descended from the sky. Seeing who it was, Lin Feng, who was on the verge of death, finally had a glimmer of hope in her eyes. This person was none other than her captain, and the only one who currently had a chance to defeat the ancient angel and save her. Feng Sun, daring to attack a member of my Feng Sun squad. Who are you? Seeing who it was, Yang Wenjian's face showed no surprise at all. She had already sensed that familiar, yet annoying aura from the other person. Yang Wenjian's mouth curved slightly upward, tossing Lin Feng away, revealing the face that had been obscured before. Feng Sun, you forgot me so quickly? This made Feng Sun very puzzled, because in her memory, she didn't recognize anyone with white hair. However, when she clearly saw that face, her face instantly turned pale with shock. How is this possible? How could you be here? Weren't you? Yang Wenjian looked at Feng Sun, who was full of anger and resentment. Her smile was full of viciousness. Already what? Already turned into a vegetable by you guys? From now on, will I just be a useless person? Feng Sun finally noticed the changes in Yang Wenjian's body. Those stark white bones. Why has your body become like this? S-class peak. Weren't you crippled? After a few years together. How could Yang Wenjian not see what Feng Sun was thinking? Seeing that I've recovered my cultivation. You're very sad. Saying that, a few cold glints suddenly appeared in his pupils. His tone suddenly became incredibly cold. How dare you bunch of bastards lock the captain in prison? And take all the credit for yourselves. Your skin is thicker than the atmosphere. Under Yang Wenjian's scolding, Feng Sun's face gradually couldn't hold on. Sometimes green, sometimes white. But being scolded so closely, Feng Sun couldn't bear it anymore. Yang Wenjian, even if you've recovered. So what if you've recovered your cultivation? It's only at the peak. You has finally broken through to sulfur monosulfide class. But at your age, is it something worth showing off? Yang Wenjian's words instantly made Feng Sun's triumphant expression disappear. He could only grit his teeth. Less nonsense. We'll kill you. And send your corpse back to the association. To see what you really are. The 6,177 behind Yang Wenjian trembled. Each end ejected a hovering bone blade. In less than the blink of an eye, they flashed in front of Feng Sun. Feng Sun's pupils contracted sharply. At his level, he hadn't even seen the opponent's movements clearly. But before he could think more, 6 bone blades were already at his face. Feng Sun quickly waved his palm. A violent wind instantly arose around him. Condensed wind energy gathered in his palm, forming a barrier, blocking the 6 attacks. It seems that since the retreat, you bunch of good-for-nothings have been getting worse. Yang Wenjian's voice gradually turned cold. He suddenly whispered, Angel's Wrath. As the words fell, a pale white light suddenly emanated from Yang Wenjian's body. Unlike the holiness of angels, the aura emitted by ancient angels, it is the aura of a saint intertwined with Ji-Lai and barrenness. Only SSS-level peerless powerhouses are left. As the hole gets bigger and bigger, a giant sword made entirely of white bones slowly reveals its true form in the overwhelming pressure. Under Yang Wenjian's bloodthirsty smile, the white bone giant sword suddenly accelerates, heading straight towards Shuangmuyu, where Deng Fengsun is about to fall. Fengsun embraced his national essence, and then used all his strength, and hurriedly ran away. But looking up, he realized, no matter where he runs, the tip of this white bone giant sword is always pointing at him. And the distance is getting closer and closer. Little did he know that this skill is tracking. After discovering this, Fengsun gritted his teeth and immediately stopped. He turned around and laid out a formation. The white bone giant sword had already broken through the yin barrier in the air. He is destined to take this sword. A large amount of wind gathered again in front of Fengsun, condensing into a constantly flowing, soft shield. Using his abilities twice, but both times to resist Yang Wenjian's attacks. With a crisp sound, the next moment, the wind shield, which had been dented to the extreme, shattered instantly. In the smoke and dust, Feng Sun spat out a large pool of blood. He was trembling all over. Successive defeats drove Feng Sun completely insane. He forcibly used his spiritual power to stop the effects of his injuries. Covered in blood, he rushed towards Yang Wenjian recklessly. Not far away, Ling Feng finally recovered a little. Watching Feng Sun, who was already on his last legs, he almost passed out again. He never expected that despite leading by a small level, Feng Sun would still be unilaterally crushed. He really didn't know if the other party was too strong, or Feng Sun was too weak. But looking at it this way, he had to start his escape route again. Thinking this, he immediately stood up cautiously, not daring to slack off in the slightest, fearing that he wouldn't even start running before Feng Sun kicked the bucket. Ling Feng gritted his teeth. Finally, a miniature ghost gate appeared in his hand. This ghost gate allowed him to enter the white ghost gate. But he could only retrieve this item by exiting from the entrance he entered. That is to say, meaning, if he wanted to use the ghost gate to escape, then it meant that he had to abandon this item. Seeing that Feng's son was about to, Ling Feng didn't care about anything else. After opening the ghost gate, he immediately flashed and flew into it. Soon the ghost gate left on the ground completely disappeared. Not far away, after seeing Ling Feng leave, Yang Wenjian's mouth raised in a subtle arc. All right. My mission is complete. It's time for you to hit the road. Hearing this, Feng's son, who had retaliated angrily, and thought he was evenly matched with Yang Wenjian, was a little dazed. You don't really think I can't even beat you, do you? As he spoke, the ancient blade in his hand instantly exerted force. Feng's son still subconsciously parried, but unexpectedly felt a force several times stronger than before. Feng's son's eyes widened. Before he could finish speaking, the ancient blade had accurately pierced his forehead. The spiritual power in his body surged along the ancient blade, and after purification, it turned into nourishment. Before long, Feng's son's body was completely still. But Yang Wenjian suddenly opened his eyes and frowned in dissatisfaction. Just this much? What a waste. Then he pinched his fingers, and a ray of light quickly shot towards Feng's son's shriveled corpse. Through the apostle conversion ability, Yang Wenjian also turned the opponent into a bone mirror position. But because the level dropped, the wind erosion after being made into a bone mirror position left the cultivation level only at the mid-stage of S rank. The scene changes to deep night. A seemingly ordinary crow enters my brain. Before long, in my system space, a brand new material has been added. Unknown blood, epic grade. Special blood containing weak spatial power. It's actually an epic grade material. It seems the future me was telling the truth. That's good, definitely good stuff. I need to take good care of it. Since things here are over, it's time to look for new members. On the other side, a thin young man was pushed and shoved, falling heavily to the ground. Immediately after, 6 thugs of various colors, seemingly deliberately showing off the veins on their arms, rolled up the sleeves of their clothes together. The young man being stepped on didn't resist, but his eyes were full of stubbornness. I have no money. The yellow-haired leader didn't seem disappointed. Instead, he licked his lips, and a wicked smile appeared on his face. It's okay if you don't have money. Don't you still have those 2 sisters who are as beautiful as angels? The words fell. Amidst everyone's stunned gaze, the young man suddenly, like a wild beast, pounced on the owner of the foot that was stepping on him. But to Yellow Hair, the damage wasn't great, but the humiliation was extremely strong. Yellow Hair was completely enraged and pushed hard. The young man was instantly knocked over and fell heavily to the ground. The young man hugged his head with both hands, facing the ground, just lying there without a word. Before long, he completely stopped moving. The several thugs who were originally fighting fiercely were startled. The remaining thugs didn't care about anything else. They looked at each other and also scrambled to run away. After receiving the notice that her younger brother's life was in danger, Lu Mingxiao's 2 older sisters immediately put down what they were doing and rushed to the hospital anxiously. Don't have too much hope. We can only do our best, the doctor said, shaking his head with a troubled expression. Then he bypassed the 2 and left the spot. Hearing these words, Lu Chengyu only felt like a bolt from the blue. She swayed, and a pair of beautiful eyes had already turned red. He learned that his younger brother was beaten like this by a group of thugs. If Xiao Xiao really has something happen to him, I won't let them off. When the operating room door opened again, the news they got became the last straw that broke the camel's back. Sorry, we couldn't save the patient. He only has 10 minutes left. Prepare for his funeral. Looking at Lu Mingxiao covered in bruises, Lu Chengyu couldn't help but burst into tears. Big sister, leave this to me. I want all those scumbags to pay for Xiao Xiao's life. This time, the kind-hearted Lu Chengyu didn't say anything, but silently nodded. Be careful. If they are espers, we'll figure something out together. He knows that his sister is very skilled, but that's only among ordinary people. If they are facing espers, this physical advantage will be gone. Otherwise, a strange voice rang out in the operating room. Do you want him to live? Lu Chengyu and Lu Luoyan both looked over. The one who spoke was actually the crow on the windowsill. Who are you? You can call me the creator. Not bad. The one difficult to leave behind on this trip isn't Bai Shan, but me in the prison. This crow was originally summoned by Bai Shan. But I also deposited my alien consciousness inside it. The two women didn't understand what this meant. But Lu Loyan had cautiously stepped in front of Lu Chunyu and Lu Mingxiao. You're a mutant beast? Looking at Lu Loyan, who was full of vigilance towards me. I shook my head helplessly. Does it matter if I'm a mutant beast? If I want to kill someone, none of you can stop me. Or are you saying that you think there will be a psychic to save him now? Lu Chunyu, who was sitting quietly, suddenly raised her slightly red eyes and softly opened her mouth. Lord Creator, can you cure Xiao Xiao? I nodded affirmatively. But it will require you to pay some price. Perhaps it's also a kind of reward. Lu Loyan even spoke before Lu Chunyu, saying, as long as you can cure him. Then, a bottle of dark red liquid carrying a violent aura was placed in front of the hospital bed. If he drinks it, he will come back to life. Lu Chunyu didn't hesitate at all. After uncorking the test tube, he slowly poured it into Lu Mingxiao's mouth. Normally speaking, he wouldn't trust others so easily. But if he doesn't drink it, Lu Mingxiao will definitely die. The best way now is to trust the person in front of him. As the liquid entered his throat, Lu Mingxiao, who had been motionless, reacted almost instantly. First, his body trembled slightly. Then the shaking became more and more violent. Then, the corners of his mouth slightly curved up. I advise you to stay away for now. The two who were immersed in joy hadn't realized what was happening. The next moment, Lu Mingxiao suddenly opened his eyes. But the whites of his eyes and pupils had disappeared. Only a strange red color remained in his eye sockets. Then, countless shackles seemed to emerge from the void, binding his neck. Both hands and ankles are securely locked. After this last step is completed, a huge aura also surges out. The guest repelled Lu Chunyu and the two girls into the shadows. Creation complete. Please name the Eerie Sequence 006, host. Looking at the strange getup with the clamp cable on its back, I thought for a moment. Let's call you Prisoner. Eerie Sequence 006. Prisoner. Successfully recorded in the Eerie Archive. Just after I named 006 Prisoner, I checked his skill attributes. Positive clamp cable. Blood collection. Wind demon becomes fire. In simple terms, 006 is just a hunting maniac who gets crazier the lower his health is. These strange abilities are not suitable for my way of thinking. After I finished reading the system information, Lu Mingxiao is alive. But perhaps because he was too weak, he quickly fainted again. Seeing the result is enough for Lu Chunyu and the two girls to willingly accept the price. Lord, thank you for saving Xiao Xiao. What price do we need to pay? I took out 2 more bottles of reagent and placed them on the table next to me. Each of you choose a bottle and drink it. Who wants to go first? As soon as the words were spoken, Lu Loyan took a step forward. I'll go first. Just as Lu Loyan was about to drink the potion, the seemingly gentle Lu Chunyu reached out and grabbed a bottle of potion first. Before his sister could stop him, he immediately drank the dark blue potion he had grabbed. The next moment, under those worried gazes, Lu Chunyu's body, like Lu Mingxiao's before, began to tremble violently. Suddenly, Lu Chunyu lost his balance and collapsed to the ground. Lu Loyan's heart tightened. She rushed forward to check on him. When she got closer and took a sniff, she realized that the operating room had somehow acquired the scent of the sea. Before Lu Loyan could think further, Lu Chunyu's body had already started to. From his limbs to his cheeks, regular scales were slowly growing, and on his ears, fish fin-like blue anomalies slowly rose. Looking down at his lower body, she was shocked to find that his 2 legs were slowly merging into a fishtail covered with blue scales. Then Lu Chunyu's body slowly floated into the air, indistinguishable from the legendary mermaid, accompanied by a powerful aura spreading out. He suddenly opened his eyes. That pair of pupils had become incredibly dazzling at some point. Creation complete. Please name the host's Eerie Sequence 007. It's rare to see such a pleasingly eerie creation. I nodded in satisfaction. Let's call it Siren. Eerie Sequence 007 Siren. Successfully entered into the Eerie Archive. After this change, Lu Chunyu's already captivating appearance. Now it can be described as breathtakingly beautiful. Even the closest Lu Loyan, for a moment, couldn't help but be stunned. At this time, Lu Chunyu seemed to wake up from a dream. He quickly lowered his head to look at his lower body. When that fishtail came into view, he was instantly scared witless. I've become a fish. Looking at his mermaid form, it seems he excels at underwater combat. Nan Lu's proximity to the South Sea makes this sequence's abilities quite timely. In the water, 007 should be able to contend with enemies much higher than his own level. Moreover, peak B grade can already levitate. On land, there wouldn't be much restriction. Not bad. While I was lost in thought, Lu Chengyu had slowly familiarized himself with his body and found a way to return to his original form. As soon as he landed, Lu Loyan immediately went to greet him. Sis, how are you feeling now? Although he's just an ordinary person, he constantly attracts the power of ability users. In a few minutes, turning an ordinary person instantly into a top-tier expert at the peak of B grade. This had only ever appeared in her dreams. Lu Loyan, who's usually aloof and reserved, was uncharacteristically quiet and couldn't help but gulp. His gaze was fixed on the remaining potion. Unable to look away. Creator, if I drink this potion, can I also have such power? Drink it, and you'll naturally know. I didn't answer, because the result might be even more surprising than Lu Loyan imagined. Except for the first potion, which he specifically chose for Lu Mingxiao. The remaining 2 bottles are for the 2 of them to choose. Of the 2 potions, one is a fine grade, and one is an epic grade. Lu Chengyu was unlucky, and ended up choosing the fine grade potion. After Lu Loyan took the remaining potion, she couldn't wait to drink it. But less than half a minute after taking it, suddenly, Lu Loyan fell to the ground, her body stiff. Her eyes rolled back, and her heart stopped beating instantly. Lu Chengyu hurried forward, only to discover that she really had no life left. Things happened so suddenly that the bewilderment in Lu Chengyu's pupils didn't even have time to be replaced by grief. As if grabbing the last straw, he hurriedly knelt down before me. Lord, please, save Loyan. I calmly signaled him not to rush. Her evolution hasn't finished yet, because the epic material used when synthesizing this potion already contained a hint of necromantic power. Sure enough, after a few minutes of lying still, changes occurred on Lu Loyan's body again. Old, white bandages appeared from nowhere, extending from her legs as if they had a life of their own, wrapping around every part of Lu Loyan's body. Lu Loyan's pupils finally regained consciousness. However, those eyes had changed from black to a colder ice blue. The next moment, an aura far surpassing the previous 2 surged out, making everyone in the hospital almost simultaneously feel a violent tremor. Creation complete. Please name the anomalous sequence 008. Thinking about when synthesizing this potion. Since that's the case. 008 Graveyard Keeper. Unique sequence 008 Graveyard Keeper has been successfully recorded into the anomalous archive. I opened its information window. Initial rank, peak S rank. Replication ability. Body of the living dead. Living burial. Coffin nails. That's another peak S rank. Looks like my luck is pretty good. These 3-star sequences are all top-tier existences within their rank. Lu Loyan, slowly regaining consciousness, clenched his fist. His pupils were filled with disbelief. This power is so strong. I'm at the peak of S rank. In his original understanding, B rank was already something unattainable. But who would have thought that in just a few minutes, he would have the cultivation of an S rank peak? Everything felt like a dream. He looked at the mysterious crow's pupils before him, filled with fervor. He had already become this creator's most loyal follower. I was also stunned by his actions. It's clear that Lu Loyan is a power first absolutist. This is similar to Yang Wenji, who activated the ancient angel sequence. Yang Wenji. Next, I'll give you some time to settle your own affairs. But within a week, I want to hear about the Nanlu branch of the Esper Association being destroyed. This thought flashed through Lu Loyan's mind, further strengthening his belief. Because earlier, he had the same idea as me. Don't worry, my lord. I've wanted to do this for a long time, but I just didn't have the ability. Meanwhile, a weak voice suddenly came from the sickbed. Lu Mingxiao had slowly woken up, but he didn't understand what was happening. Lu Chengyu looked at me with gratitude. This lord saved you. Quickly thank the lord. Following the direction Lu Chengyu indicated, until he saw the crow standing beside his bed. Lu Mingxiao was stunned. Thank a crow? Even though it seemed wrong in every way, he knew in his heart that his eldest sister would never harm him. He quickly composed himself and bowed sincerely to Chen Lingyu. Thank you, Lord, for saving my life. Handle the rest yourselves. Don't forget the task I gave you. Seeing a crow speak human words, Lu Mingxiao's eyes couldn't help but shift. But before he could say anything, Chen Lingyu moved with her mind. Her body had already turned into black mist and dissipated in place. They watched Chen Lingyu leave, until her figure completely disappeared. Only then did the two beauties look at Lu Mingxiao. Xiao, how do you feel now? Lu Mingxiao shook his head with a light smile. He reached out and lifted the quilt, preparing to turn over and get out of bed. But just as his left foot landed on the ground, crack! The entire operating room floor suddenly burst with spider web-like cracks. The sudden scene directly shocked Lu Mingxiao. He quickly pulled his foot back. But unexpectedly, the next moment, his body and the entire hospital bed collapsed together. Looking at the embarrassed Lu Mingxiao, Lu Chanu couldn't help but giggle. Lu Loyan on the side couldn't help but curl up the corners of her mouth. Alright, Xiao Xiao. Quickly adapt to the power in your body. Don't tear this place down in a bit. Hearing this, Lu Mingxiao sat in the ruins with a confused face, looking back and forth at his hands in disbelief. Just as he was about to ask something, a surge of information suddenly flooded into his mind, letting him know what had happened while he was in a coma. The word Sequence 006 prisoner appeared in his mind. It seems you understand already. To repay that great person's kindness, we must do our best to complete that mission. Then, Lu Loyan's style changed abruptly. Who beat you up like this? This matter cannot be left like this. Feeling the aura of his second sister, which was even stronger than his own, he immediately had no more worries. Sister Yan, it's those gangsters from the Green Gang. They came to collect protection fees. Lu Mingxiao recounted the whole story from beginning to end. The scene changes to the other side. Those few yellow hairs are partying in a bar. At this moment, he is thinking about how to kidnap Lu Mingxiao's two sisters. Just as he was troubled, he didn't expect that as soon as he walked to the door, two graceful figures came into his view. They actually delivered themselves to my door. Then don't blame me. The surrounding brothers instantly understood, and secretly surrounded the two. Their eyes fixed straight on Lu Loyan and walked towards them. Perfect. So perfect. But at this moment, Lu Loyan, who had been silent, suddenly looked up, and kicked the yellow hair directly into the wall. Just as everyone was confused, a chain suddenly fell from the sky. The young man who had been looking lecherous was directly smashed into a pile of mud. Seeing Lu Mingxiao revived from the dead, fear instantly surged into the hearts of those perpetrators. I said, dare to bully my sister. I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. As the words fell, he suddenly exerted his strength. The shackles on his hands immediately shattered inch by inch. With a tight blow, the bodies of several people instantly turned into powder. Time quickly came to the next day. Nanlu branch of the Ability User Association. A melodious song came from an unknown source. Unconsciously, they raised the corners of their mouths, revealing happy smiles. It looked incredibly eerie. A roar with mental impact spread throughout the entire building. After a burst of stabbing pain in their minds, the ability users who luckily survived finally woke up. Everyone didn't know what was going on. Out of the 300 people in the entire association, less than 20% survived. The dozens of survivors immediately rushed out of the building, only to see in the sky above, two groups of figures were suspended, facing each other. 11 against 3. Even though some parties had an absolute numerical advantage, the cold sweat on his forehead still poured out like thin beads. You must know, he himself was already a first-level peak ability user. Just one step away to cross the threshold of Lash. Enough to startle him. Must be at least on the same level as me. Who exactly are you? Why are you attacking my ESP association for no reason? Your actions are atrocious. Are you trying to start a war with my ESP association? Although what Yang Tianchu said sounded tough, there was a hint of nervousness in his tone. Since you're all here, it saves me the trouble of finding you one by one. He suddenly levitated and extended his palms facing the dense aura of death. In an instant, it surrounded Yang Tianchu and his group of 11. Yang Tianchu's eyes widened instantly. His pupils filled with disbelief. Not level 1 peak. You're a Lash strange ESP user. Heaven and earth unite. Death burial. As soon as the words left his mouth, the aura of death surrounding the group instantly gathered. Yang Tianchu and the others sensed something was wrong. Just as they were about to quickly escape through the gap above, a coffin lid fell from the sky unexpectedly. After slamming them back into the coffin, it sealed the entire coffin tightly. But only a few seconds passed, and the screams gradually subsided, until finally, there was no sound at all. The brief battle ended quickly. The three rejoined forces on the empty rooftop. Lu Mingxiao and Lu Chunyu's bodies trembled slightly simultaneously. Their auras had already broken through one level. Thus, all three cities in the South Sea have fallen. A few days later, A battered figure flew into doo-doo. Only after seeing the Ability User Association headquarters building did he breathe a sigh of relief. His consciousness grew increasingly faint. He closed his eyes. His whole body fell directly from 100 meters in the air to the ground. It's Lord Ling Feng from the Wind-Loss Squad. Quick, send him to the infirmary. Have the healing ability users prepare to save him. Watching the battle on Nanlu's side come to an easy conclusion, I nodded slightly and closed the light screen released by the system. These 3 cities are all quite large. Together, they occupy almost a tenth of the entire empire. But under the current situation, the news of the bizarre reality can't be kept secret. In that case, the speed needs to be increased in the future. Right now I have 2 S ranks, 3 A ranks, and 3 B ranks, plus the Ancient Angel's Bone Mirror Realm. This fighting power is already comparable to a top-ranking first-class city. If I wanted to rely solely on this fighting power to confront the remaining 33 cities, that would undoubtedly be a pipe dream. We still need to create an SSS-level aberration. Only then will those guys hesitate to act rashly. Having once been the top combat force in this realm, I deeply know how powerful this level of strength is. A seasoned SSS-level Esper can easily achieve the feat of leveling a city with a single blow. In this world, the deterrence of SSS level is like a reusable nuclear bomb. Even if an empire only possesses one, it's enough to make enemies hesitate and have to consider the consequences of offending them rashly. Based on the current information, if I want to create an SSS-level aberration, I think there are only 2 shortcuts I know. One is to create the legendary material that I will mention in the future in the store, but I don't know when I can farm it out. As for the second method, it's the little white mouse that's not easy to let escape. The level of Esper's upgrade is too slow. By the time Ling Feng cultivates to SSS level, I'm afraid it will be a long time coming. Just then, my 2 monkeys suddenly lit up. Since Ling Feng is a product created by the future system, can I interfere with Ling Feng now? I immediately conveyed this thought to Brother Tongzi. Sure enough, Brother Tongzi confirmed the answer. Target, Ling Feng. It has been detected that he possesses a game program created through this system. The program is currently closed. Would you like to spend creation points to restart the game program? I raised my eyebrows, quickly understanding that this might be why the other party knows the details of all parties so well. After restarting, will the program content be written and modified by me? You have ownership of this program. The host can make changes at will. Hearing this, the corners of my mouth quietly rose. I already have an idea. Restart the tower program. Modify the 5th floor. Reduce the boss's strength by 50%. Randomly retain 2 abilities and delete the rest. After clearing it, replace all the rewards with treasures that increase cultivation level until the final 8th floor's guardian is also weakened. Then end the modifications. That way, Ling Feng can break through to SSS level sooner. Maybe I can even use Ling Feng to mislead the Ability User Association. It's practically killing 3 birds with 1 stone. At the same time, Ling Feng clutched his head, which was throbbing with pain. He forced himself to sit up in the hospital bed. And the first thing he did was find Ling Longtian. Then he told the whole story in detail. The other members of the Fengsun team have all sacrificed themselves. Only I managed to escape. Ling Longtian slammed his desk. He stood up straight from his chair. His pupils were filled with disbelief. I remember Fengsun only recently broke through to sulfur monosulfide level. Just Zhongnan. How could someone possibly kill him? Ling Feng looked at the flustered Ling Longtian and shook his head inwardly. He can't even accept this? Then when he hears what he has to say later, won't he just explode? Our enemies are similar to alien beasts. They are a new kind of creature called weird. These creatures in normal times are no different from humans in all aspects. Only in a combat state will they reveal their true form. After a while, he came back to his senses from this huge amount of information. Why are you the only one who escaped? Ling Feng had already guessed that he would ask this, and took out the prepared answer. Ling Feng remained calm and just flexed his hands greedily. Maybe they thought I was too weak. Or maybe they wanted us to know about the existence of the eerie. Arrogant. They simply don't take our Esper Association seriously. Ling Feng, you're currently the only one who knows about these eerie things. Tell me everything you know now. Don't leave out a single detail. Immediately after, Ling Longtian had him record the weaknesses of the eerie in the files. As for the 5th eerie, I only know his name is Ancient Angel, and his level has reached the peak of S-class. It seems Captain Feng Sun also knows Ancient Angel. A look of surprise suddenly appeared on Ling Longtian's face. He couldn't help but frown. Who is this ancient angel? Ling Feng thought for a moment. He heard a name when he was with Minnie Hu Hu. It seemed to be called Yang Wenjian. This familiar name instantly brought back bad memories for Ling Longtian. You must know that Yang Wenjian became a vegetable. Partly thanks to him. If he were to recover his strength, I'm afraid the first thing he'd do is come back to hold him accountable. Impossible. I must be mistaken. He was already a vegetable. How could he possibly turn into this weird thing? Ling Longtian instantly flew into a rage, pointing at the secretary's nose and scolding him. I need to know if Yang Wenjian is still at the Yang family. Otherwise, none of you need to work anymore. Suddenly, the office door was violently pushed open. A slightly disheveled figure stumbled to Ling Longtian's desk. Chairman. Something terrible has happened. The associations in Modu and Nanlu. In these two places have been wiped out. Not a single person survived. This news was like a depth charge, instantly blasting away his desire to scold people. According to surrounding people's descriptions, those who attacked the local associations were all monsters transformed from humans. With extremely strong power, Ling Feng and Ling Longtian exchanged a look. They knew it was done by the weird entity they just discussed. Ling Feng had no idea about these two incidents, and furrowed his brow in a flash. His mind was racing. He quickly discovered the connection between these three cities. Chairman. It seems these three cities can just connect to form a piece. Indeed. The association distributions in these three cities are gone. Now, that area in the South Sea, we have completely lost control of. These anomalies are much smarter than the beasts. They must have some purpose. We can't let them continue to wreak havoc like this. Even if we have to turn everything upside down, we must capture all these anomalies. After leaving Ling Longtian's office, Ling Feng returned to his residence. He suspected that there might be more than just these few anomalies. In the game, that tower had more than just 5 floors. Could it be that the ones attacking Modu and Nanlu are the anomalies from after the 5th floor? Thinking of this, a look of regret appeared on Ling Feng's face. Damn it. If I had my current skills, maybe I could have cleared the game, and I wouldn't be so clueless about the anomalies that came after. Just then, that familiar voice sounded in his mind again. Sensing the host's will, the tower game has been restarted. Does the host wish to continue the challenge? The sudden voice first stunned Ling Feng, and then, realizing what it meant, a look of ecstasy immediately appeared on his face. As I thought, I knew the Transmigrator army had a cheat. It definitely won't be that simple. I must beat this game. That way I'll know all the strange things that appear. In excitement, Ling Feng decisively pressed the button to challenge again. After a dizzying sensation, the familiar bone forest appeared in his sight once again. This is the dwelling place of the 5th level boss, Bone Angel. I'm really back again. Just then, a figure composed entirely of white bones slowly came into his view. Sure enough, it's exactly the same as the Bone Angel outside. 6 bone wings trembled slightly. A huge bone blade instantly chopped towards Ling Feng. But this time, Ling Feng discovered that the opponent's movements were actually crystal clear to him. The scene he had imagined of being knocked away did not occur. Instead, both sides were knocked back half a step. How does it feel like this Bone Angel has become weaker? Ling Feng touched the sword in his hand with some disbelief. His eyes became a little strange. But after thinking about his experiences over the past year, he quickly and contentedly denied his original thoughts. If he can defeat the Bone Angel here, then it proves that in the same realm, the Bone Angel is not my opponent. At this moment, a desire for victory arose in Ling Feng's heart. Seeing hope, he waved his hand, wielding the silver sword, and once again laughed loudly as he engaged in a fierce battle with the Bone Angel. After a whole afternoon, with Ling Feng slicing off the Bone Angel's head, he finally cleared the 5th floor. Almost collapsing from exhaustion, he greedily sat on the ground, but couldn't stop the corners of his mouth from turning upwards. Finally cleared the 5th floor, and only died 3 times. Turns out this Bone Angel isn't that strong after all. If it weren't for wanting to experience those 2 abilities, maybe I could have cleared it in 2 tries. Congratulations to the host for clearing the 5th floor of the tower. Claim reward for clearing? Ling Feng was stunned for a moment, then revealed a hint of anticipation. Claim. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 vitality pill. Vitality pill. Judging by the name, it seems like a pill that can raise levels. After thinking for a moment, he directly put the pill in his mouth. Whatever the effect. Anyway, the golden finger definitely won't harm the host, just eat it. After the pill entered his throat, Ling Feng only felt a huge amount of spiritual power turn into a warm current, madly washing over his limbs and bones. Before long, His realm level began to break through several times in a row. The aura he emitted had crossed a major realm from the original peak of B grade and directly reached peak A grade. After realizing it, he finally couldn't help the excited smile on his face. The scene changes to the other side. Target person, Ling Feng, currently has passed the 5th level of the tower. Level upgraded to 1st level peak. I shook my head speechlessly, not knowing what to say. It takes so long even to deal with a semi-finished product. Seems like he's really useless. I was originally worried that Ling Feng would clear the level too quickly, and I wouldn't have time to create new anomalies. That's why I set a cooldown time. Now it seems unnecessary. Just then, Bai Shan's figure quietly appeared in front of the prison gate. I'm also curious what they've been doing these past few days. Bai Shan scratched his head awkwardly. He seemed embarrassed to say. Went to make money. My eyes twitched slightly. My face was full of weirdness. Make money? I forgot about that. Before becoming anomalies. Besides the ancient angel and the lords. And the future richest man in front of the screen. Every single one of them was broke. Although there's nothing wrong with that. But a few ghosts who aren't even afraid of the Esper Association. Now they actually have to earn money. That's a bit of a strange turn of events. I rested my forehead and looked at Bai Shan with some appreciation. Then why didn't you go? Bai Shan suddenly blushed. He glanced at me guiltily. My main body is with them. A black line crossed my forehead. I rolled my eyes speechlessly. Are you that short on money? Hearing this, Bai Shan seemed eager to save face. It's not entirely for the money. We have other gains. Then, relying on the blind spot of the prison surveillance, he carefully passed a ring through the gap in the door. I checked, and although there were a lot of them, most of them were just excellent. Or even ordinary quality materials. Not much use, huh? Just as I was getting a headache, Brother Tongzi showed up just in time to save the day. Sensing the host's problem, the system decided to activate the synthesis function. It can synthesize a certain number of materials of the same grade. There is a probability of obtaining a high-grade material. Pay 1,000 creation points to enable the synthesis function? Enable synthesis function. This function came just in time. But why does it need creation points again? Complaining aside, this function still needs to be enabled. No choice. Looking at the remaining 4000 plus creation points, I reluctantly chose to pay. But I was dumbfounded when I clicked in. If you want to synthesize high-grade materials from low-grade ones, the required input ratio is as high as 6 to 1. So dark. I pursed my lips and turned my head, and looked again at the previously calculated numbers. 6 ordinary grade, 12 excellent grade, 4 exquisite grade. It seems like it's just enough to synthesize a legendary grade. Let's do it. As one material after another was put into the synthesizer, the originally dazzling space was quickly emptied. In the end, out of more than 20 kinds, only one legendary material emitting purple light remained. Then I got a 9-tailed fox from Qingchu Lake. No connection. Looks like it's random. Putting away this legendary material, I suddenly glanced at the system space again. The remaining 3 things. 3 tubes of Ling Feng's blood. A legendary material pack. And 2 exquisite material packs. My eyes lit up. Why not try what 3 legendary materials can synthesize? My interest grew even more. I haven't tried what will happen when materials of the same grade are synthesized. Right now, there are enough materials. Ling Feng's blood also has 3 portions. Using 1 portion is fine. But it's certain that piling up 3 historical trial materials will definitely produce an eerie creation stronger than an ordinary S rank. I no longer hesitate. With a thought, the historical trial material pack automatically opens. 2 materials with a purple glow are successively placed into the system synthesis slot. After a few seconds of loading, a bottle of tempting pink liquid appears in the system space. Looking at the remaining 2 high-quality material packs and the 2 portions of Ling Feng's blood, I once again fall into contemplation. It seems I can also make an S-rank eerie thing on the side. Leave 1 portion of blood. It seems the legendary material is enough as well. I clap my hands together and directly put the 2nd portion of historical trial level blood into the synthesis slot as well. The potion is quickly completed. This potion contains a deep blue hue, mixed within the crimson red symbolizing madness. I was just about to call out the substitute puppet left by Baishan, when a voice from the system rang out. Unique sequence 004. Pressure breakthrough strike. Unlocks puppet summoning. Can summon a puppet identical to the real person. Possesses 80% of the original body's strength. Can complete simple commands. This skill came at just the right time. I decisively replaced this ability. Then, by the window at the top of the cell, a seemingly ordinary crow, had already flown out along the iron bars. At the crossroads where people gather, I appeared among the crowd wearing casual clothes and drinking milk tea. Conspicuously appeared in the crowd. Rarely get out for a trip. Where to go first? As for finding people, gathering what? If there isn't enough time. At worst, just find 2 random lucky ones later. Just force it down. Suddenly, a sign not far away attracted his attention. In front of the hall where a musical was performed, there was a magic show being displayed, with a sign saying free admission. I randomly found a seat and sat down. The atmosphere around here looked more like being in a movie theater. The flagship stood on the stage facing the stands. After a brief glance at the few dozen people, he began his performance on his own. While below, a couple was making a scene. But it caught my attention. I didn't feel anything at first, but I glanced at the magician on stage again. After catching that evasive look in his eyes, I knew things weren't so simple. The magician only performed simple tricks in the first half. Couldn't see through it at all. So next, I will perform a highlight for everyone. Human dissection. Are there any audience members? Who would volunteer to help me perform this show? After a moment of silence in the hall, Flagship scratched his head, seemingly a little embarrassed, with a slightly comical expression. Since no audience members volunteer, why not pick someone at random? As soon as he finished speaking, the lights above everyone's heads began to move. And finally, that beam of light landed precisely on the head of the woman called Linger. The already annoyed woman immediately became dissatisfied. She leaned against the man, intentionally or unintentionally nudging forward. Don't be a spoilsport. Like this. You go up and have some fun. When we go back tonight, I'll give you another bag. How about it? Hearing the man's promise, the woman's pupils suddenly lit up. I don't care about being taken care of or not. But since Brother Ling is so interested, then I'll go up and play with her. Too bad she didn't see it. Just as she turned around, the man exchanged a look with the magician below the stage, and a cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. When the woman saw the sharp guillotine on the execution platform, she suddenly took a step back. You're using this kind of prop? I'm not playing. Find someone else. The magician hurried forward to explain. Madam, don't be afraid. This is actually a prop we made out of paper. It just looks a bit too realistic. There's no danger. In order to get what she wanted, she finally gritted her teeth and stayed on stage. Seeing the woman compromise, a strange smile appeared behind the magician's mask. In her consciousness, although the woman was apprehensive, she obediently laid down in the coffin. Then, several crisp clicking sounds rang out. The lid on top of the prop was completely locked down. So next, my performance is about to begin. The guillotine, weighing 1,000 pounds, falls like a wild horse, precisely into the opening below. A loud whooshing sound, from falling to hitting the bottom. This massive guillotine took less than a blink of an eye. The magic box is just as it was before, without any reaction, but with vision far beyond ordinary people. I clearly saw the trickling blood seeping from the opening. Is this considered a failed magic trick? In principle, it is. But the smiles on the faces of the 2 people on and off the stage tell me that this outcome is the most successful part of this magic trick. Ladies and gentlemen, this magic show has come to an end. Thank you all for watching. Soon I was the only one left in the audience. The brow behind the flagship mask furrowed slightly, looking at the mysterious man before him. Sir, our performance is completely over. You can leave now. I didn't head towards the exit of the hall, but instead walked step by step onto the stage where the magic had been performed. What a wonderful performance. I didn't expect to see such an interesting thing on this trip. I was about to approach the iron box hiding the secret. The flagship's heart skipped a beat. A hint of panic appeared behind the mask. Could it be he found out? Then I quickly moved to the side of the box. The flagship's pupils instantly constricted. He could only watch as I reached my hand forward. It's all over. A touch of horror flashed across the corner of his mouth behind the mask. His carefully planned scheme for so long. But the flagship suddenly stopped being sorrowful. His 2 eyeballs widened. I gently wiped away the bloodstains accidentally on the surface of the iron box with a tissue. You are an excellent magician. The flagship was completely stunned. Even the sound of his voice involuntarily became stuttered. He knew that the man in front of him had already seen through all his plans. But for some reason, not only did the other party not stop him, but now he was even looking at him. This murdering magician, with an admiring expression. Why? A smirk appeared on my lips, not hiding the admiration in my pupils for the flagship at all. I like your magic, but this stage is too small. I want to invite you to perform a magic show for me in front of millions. How about it? As soon as the voice came out, Flagship instantly raised his head, his eyes fixed intently on the person in front of him. This mysterious man. Is that okay? You can really give me this opportunity? Before this, he was just an unknown little magician. In this increasingly prosperous neon city, people like them are almost squeezed to the point where there is no room to survive. If it wasn't for his best friend being killed by the dead woman in the box and jumping off the building, he wouldn't have even spent all his savings to get the chance to stand on this stage for one last performance. I placed that vial of blue and red intertwined liquid casually on the thick back of the guillotine blade. Opportunities are not given by others. It depends on whether you can seize them. Before Flagship had time to stop me, my figure had already turned into a cloud of black mist, completely disappearing into the hall. Indeed, not an ordinary person. He turned around. His gaze landed on that seemingly strange potion. A stage for 10,000 viewers? I will seize it. Saying that, he resolutely picked up the potion, tilted his head back and drank it all. Creation complete. Please name the weird sequence 009. This time, my slightly low voice was straightforward. 009 Magician. Weird sequence 009. Magician has been successfully entered into the weird archive. The other abilities of the Flagship are more or less related to the profession of magician. However, this space teleportation seems a bit abrupt. Perhaps it's because Ling Feng's tube of blood was used as the main material. This ability is not bad. I can consider swapping it out. Space teleportation can perform targeted teleportation. Spiritual power consumption depends on the teleportation distance. Cooldown time, 24 hours. Required creation points, 1,000. I was slightly speechless. This is the most expensive ability I've seen so far. Just when creating the magician sequence, the system also rewarded 1,000 creation points. Just enough to offset each other. Next, it's time to find the next candidate. Who should I look for? Right now, what's missing is a leader who can organize everyone. Yang Wenjian's girl is all brawn and no brains. She doesn't like to use her head, probably wouldn't want to be 08's guardian. That girl is too cold, she can't do this either. As for the rest, their level is too low, no one will be convinced by anyone. This potion needs to be given to someone with some ability. Just then, he noticed a woman in the building. She's dealing with a traitor to the company right now. And the woman directly had her subordinates drag him to the small room in the office. As the office's wooden door closed again, desperate screams came to an abrupt end. Tough enough, and most importantly, she has money. Then it's you. A sudden voice, in this originally quiet office, seemed extremely out of place. Su Qing quickly looked up, scanning the empty office. A hint of surprise immediately flashed subtly in her pupils. A crow suddenly flew into the room from the windowsill, and suddenly exploded into a cloud of black mist. Nice to meet you, Miss Su. The moment you saw me display my abilities, Su Qing, you instantly realized that you can't deal with me, so you immediately called for help. The bodyguards outside the door immediately rushed in, their fists slamming directly at the person in front of them. Then, Miss Su, your way of greeting guests is certainly enthusiastic. A nail radiating a faint green light shot out from my hand instantly. In the blink of an eye, it arrived at the forehead of that muscular man. The fist the man threw was still suspended in midair, but that nail was less than a hair's breadth from her brow. Sensing the danger before his brow, the muscular man didn't dare move. A drop of cold sweat slowly trickled down from his forehead. Tisk. 08's abilities are really hard to use. I might accidentally kill him. A look of weariness appeared on my face. I waved my hand, and the coffin nail dissipated into the air. The muscular man, having narrowly escaped death, gasped for breath. Looking extremely disheveled, Su Qingling knew that if the other party wanted her life, doing anything more would be futile. She stood up and gracefully walked out from behind the desk. That figure, which could be called exquisite, was fully displayed by her office uniform. Sir, I am Su Qingling, the president of Kangnan Group. Su Qingling. May I ask what your name is? My surname is Chen. The words fell. I slowly raised my head. A handsome face, yet tinged with a sinister air, entered Su Qingling's vision. The moment she saw this face clearly, Su Qingling froze in place. It overlapped with a face she had yearned for. In her memories, even Su Qingling's voice trembled. Are you Lord Chen Linyu? Hearing Su Qingling call out his name, and looking like she was about to cry. Now it was my turn to be full of questions. No. Do I know you? Su Qingling straightened up slightly, and rubbed her moist eyes. She raised her head, a little disappointed. Don't you remember me? I rummaged through my past memories. Besides killing ye beasts, it seems I haven't come into contact with this person, right? We only met once. You've saved countless people. It's normal that you don't remember me. But I will always remember you. 3 years ago, when the beast nest attacked Modu, you personally rescued me from the mouth of an ye beast. I knew they couldn't trap you. But I didn't expect Qingling to be so lucky to actually run into you here, sir. Su Qingling's actions directly left me speechless for a few seconds. This is like going out to do bad things and ending up robbing a true fan. Sir, are you here to find Qingling? Because you need my help with something? I looked at the pink potion in my hand. Since we know each other, I might as well be gentle about it, right? Drink it. Before I could finish my sentence, Su Qingling had already agreed without hesitation. This is the first time I've met someone so enthusiastic. I blurted out subconsciously. Aren't you going to ask what this is? My life was saved by you, sir. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Saying that, Su Qingling suddenly smiled playfully. Sweet, alluring pink lips. Her words seemed to have hidden meanings. Seeing this, the corner of my eye couldn't help but twitch slightly. I have to say, Su Qingling's actions are quite alluring. As for those little things you're thinking about, the author can only keep them to himself. A hint of obscure disappointment flashed across Su Qingling's eyes. Know what Giji is? Su Qingling nodded. As far as I know, this so-called Giji only eliminates the evil souls of the ability users. It doesn't affect others. Drink it, and you can become a member of Giji too. Su Qingling's eyebrows brightened instead. Sir, those Giji are all created by you. She didn't hesitate at all. She directly picked up the thing on the desk, opened the lid, and drank it all up. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. After the usual violent trembling of her body, between Su Qingling's black hair, suddenly, 2 light pink beast ears slowly emerged. Not long after, her clothes burst open a large hole, revealing a large expanse of snow-white back. But what was most eye-catching was above her slightly upturned, beautiful buttocks, where 9 fluffy foxtails slowly grew out. The next moment, Su Qingling suddenly opened her eyes. What entered her sight was a pair of seductive pink pupils. A burst of energy instantly filled the entire office. The bulletproof floor-to-ceiling windows. Chi-Chi couldn't withstand the repetition and shattered into dust. After experiencing the pressure in this aura, I had a major revision in my mind about the level of 010. Creation complete. Please name the anomalous sequence 010, host. I glanced at the 9 tails that were most prominent behind Su Qingling, and blurted out, 0109 tails. Anomalous sequence 010, 9 tails. Successfully recorded into the anomalous archives. Congratulations, host, for creating an sulfur monosulfide rank anomalous sequence. Replication ability. Charm. 9 revolving flames. Soul-piercing shot. Spatial teleportation. Another spatial miracle. Looks like Ling Feng's blood is really good stuff. I'll have them get some more. Unlike spatial transfer, although the distance covered by spatial teleportation is not as great, it makes up for it with its quick activation speed and lack of cooldown, which means, as long as the spiritual power is sufficient, spatial teleportation can be used continuously. Just then, a seductive voice came from my ear, accompanied by warm breath, causing my consciousness to briefly lapse into a daze. Su Qingling was right next to my ear. Red lips and clear breath. Eyes full of hazy, earthy fragrance. The allure emanating from her body was obviously dozens of times stronger than before. Without a word, just raising a hand or moving a shoulder would be enough to make countless people lose their minds. But well, for me, the creator, with just a thought, all the strange abilities under my control will not have any effect on me. This is the right of being a creator. Master, are you disgusted by Qingling? Su Qingling lowered her head again, disappointed. Silently lowered her head. Qingling's body is still clean. Listening to Su Qingling's lascivious words, black lines appeared on my forehead again. The author isn't giving out freebies, people. Let's get down to business. I don't have much time. You have a heavy task. Listen carefully. Wen Yan. Only then did Su Qingling remove her previous emotions. Her expression became serious. I want a communication system that can't be monitored by the Ability User Association. Can it be done? Our group has its own communication satellite, and the system has already been built. It is now in use. If you need it, give me half a day. A satisfied smile appeared on my face. This is the benefit of finding someone rich. The reason I made this request is naturally to prepare for a great battle that is about to come. So far, the several anomalies are distributed in 3 capital cities. There is basically no communication between them. Facing the upcoming encirclement. If things continue like this, it will only lead to death. The magician will come to you. I want you to cooperate with him. Perform a world-renowned magic trick. Although Su Qingling is undoubtedly the strongest among all ghosts, the protagonist of this magic trick can only be the magician. This is also the promise I made to the flagship before. To build a stage with tens of millions of viewers for the other party. Okay. I will have the others contact you. There is not much time left. You need to familiarize yourself with the long-lost power as soon as possible. After giving the instructions, I was about to leave. Unexpectedly, Su Qingling bit her red lips slightly and grabbed my hand. Sir, I know. You don't have feelings for Qingling now. But Qingling will always only have you in her heart. I will keep waiting. For a moment, my pupils flashed with a hint of complexity. Is this how we test cadres? But in the end, I subtly removed my hand from her embrace. Now is not the time to consider these things. Then I turned into a crow again and left. The strong man by the wall slowly woke up. Miss, are you all right? Su Qingling transformed. Her face regained its former aloofness. After leaving Su Qingling, I went to find a magician flagship again. After learning about the stage where he was about to perform, he was already beside himself with excitement. He rushed to find Kyubi. The time limit for the substitute puppet was also reached. My body and mind swayed. I was back in that familiar cell again. Everything is ready. Inviting the Lord into the urn. The scene switches to the other side. In a special space, Lin Feng collapsed on the ground, not caring about his image. In front of him was a crimson corpse bound in chains. Great. I finally cleared the 6th level after 3 days. The monsters on this level are extremely difficult to deal with. Not only is their destructive power off the charts, but the more injured they are, the more excited they become. This made Lin Feng rack his brains. Finally, after countless attempts, he barely made it through. 06's name is Prisoner, huh? I guess I'll be meeting him soon. I have to be careful. I'll go claim the level completion reward first. Congratulations to the host for clearing the 5th level of the tower. Received a vitality pill. Hearing this familiar name, Lin Feng frowned in confusion. Another vitality pill? Can level completion rewards be repeated? In the previous life, the levels I cleared. Each time the reward I received was different. This left him scratching his head. Never mind. A vitality pill is good too. If I take another one, maybe I can break through to S rank. At the thought of breaking through to S rank, he looked at the pill with instantly became an idiot. As if it were a treasure. Once I break through to S rank, I can inherit the position of captain of the Windlaw squad. Lin Feng didn't want to wait a moment longer. He immediately threw the life spirit pill into his mouth. The next moment, the familiar warm current surged through his limbs and bones again. Along with the constant breakthrough of levels, his expression gradually became exaggerated. He floated in an indescribable feeling. Early S rank. Mid S rank. Late S rank. Lin Feng savored the power within his body. Hundreds of times stronger than before. For a moment, a look of intoxication involuntarily appeared on his face. Worthy of being my cheat code. I broke through to late S rank so easily. Just turned 18 years old. I should be in the history of this planet. The youngest S rank ability user, right? With my current strength, that ancient angel will definitely not be my opponent. Enjoy the little time you have left. The humiliation you gave me. I will personally go and get it back from you. The level has increased so much all at once. I have to think of a way to explain it. Because this is a collective mission. Lin Feng will definitely have to act with those guardians whose cultivation is higher than his, facing ability users of higher levels than him. The level of his cultivation will be easily seen. He won't even be able to hide it. Just then, someone suddenly knocked on Lin Feng's door from the outside. He paused, put down the towel in his hand, and hesitantly walked to the door. I'm Chen Luo from Lin Tian's team. Captain Qin sent me. Open the door. Hearing the person announce their identity, Lin Feng finally breathed a sigh of relief. He knew this person. His level had only just broken through to the early stage of level 1. He wouldn't be able to detect the changes on his body. He quickly pretended to be hurried and opened the door. Sorry to keep you waiting. Sorry. Looking at Lin Feng coming out of the door, Chen Luo's original bit of resentment suddenly vanished. Strange. Why does it feel like he's a different person? Chen Luo used to just think that his appearance was indeed quite good. And that was it. But seeing him today, He was inexplicably deeply attracted by a special temperament. Because Lin Feng's previous team was destroyed, he is now assigned to Lin Tian's team. Soon Lin Feng and the other arrived at the training ground. The other 8 members of Lin Tian's team had already started training early. Lin Feng just glanced at the people on the field. Their levels are all above level 1. This is much stronger than his original sealed team. In comparison, his original teammates were all misfits. At the same time, a voice came from the opposite side of the training ground. Chen Lu gave Lin Feng a good luck to you look, and secretly ran back to the team. No need to ask. The one in front of him must be the captain of Lin Tian's team. Qin Lin Tian. Lin Feng had naturally heard of Qin Lin Tian's legend. It is said that this person can withstand a waist chop from Yao Huang and not die. However, before he could speak, Qin Lin Tian seemed to have noticed something. Suddenly he sat up straight, as if after repeated confirmation. His pupils shrank, revealing an unbelievable expression. Your cultivation. Late stage S rank? For a time, inside the training ground, everyone looked at Lin Feng with disbelief. It was as if the person before them had transformed, suddenly jumping from B rank to S rank. At this moment, Qin Lin Tian stood up with a serious expression, his eyes fixed intently on Lin Feng. Can you explain? What exactly you encountered? Why has your cultivation suddenly increased so dramatically? Faced with the pressing question, Lin Feng didn't panic. He had naturally already thought of a response in his mind. Captain Qin, I don't know why this happened either. But perhaps it's related to the strange entity that seriously injured me. Hearing this, he immediately became interested. He then took Lin Feng to the lounge in the back. I picked up a fragment of crystal that was knocked off an ancient angel. I didn't expect that after I absorbed it, I directly broke through to my current realm. After listening to Lin Feng's words, a strong flame of conspiracy ignited in Qin Lin Tian's eyes. Don't tell anyone about this. After I kill that ancient angel, the two of us will split that crystal. How about it? Hearing this, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile inwardly. He agreed without hesitation. Anyway, that was just something he made up on the spot. Even if we don't, it's the ancient angel's fault. Can't blame ourselves. Cut to a new scene. 4 anomalies that swept across Jiangnan gathered together. They even directly broke through to the astonishing early S rank. Then 2 women and 1 man. 3 figures slowly appeared before everyone. Hello, seniors. My name is Lu Mingxiao. Sequence 006, Prisoner. And Pinnacle. Lu Chenu wore a white dress. She waved to the 4 of them and chuckled. Lu Chenu. Sequence 007, Siren. And Pinnacle. Hello everyone. It's Lu Loyan's turn. He, who was always aloof, simply nodded to them. Lu Loyan. Sequence 008, Gravedigger. Early sulfur monofluoride rank. Pleased to meet you. As soon as Lu Loyan said that, Bai Linger and the others immediately focused their attention on him. After Nine-Tails' Skynet system was completed, although they had some understanding of each other, this was the first time they had met offline. Under Bai Shan's invitation, the 7 of them sat down together in the hall of the manor. Almost at the same time, the special communicators on everyone's wrists buzzed repeatedly. It was a message from 009, the magician. Please give blood to the actor. The magician's grand disappearing act. About to begin. At this moment, a giant sword, dozens of times larger than the Feng Sun, was like a floating island, standing quietly and slightly in midair. This is besides Feng Sun, the remaining 5 guardians of the Chang'an Empire, all with strength above S-class. 18 A-class ability users. 27 B-class ability users. A total of 45 people. With these 5 guardians on this mission, it's already a sure thing. As for the rest of these team members, they're basically just brought along to see the world. Feng Sun's death earlier also made everyone afraid to be too careless. But after all, Feng Sun had only just broken through to sulfur monosulfide class, and was the weakest of their original 6 guardians. The weakest one. In the consensus of the ability user world. Once the level reaches S-class, even the most monstrous genius can't fight enemies across 2 minor realms. Therefore, many people in the association feel that having all the guardians go out is a bit of an overreaction. A soldier inside the cabin is reporting the current situation to them. Within Modu, Shanghai, the levels of 2 auras are early sulfur monosulfide class, and 1 is mid-sulfur monosulfide class. The levels in Jiangnan are lower. 1 early sulfur monosulfide class, 1 early sulfur monosulfide class, and 5 peak. Wen Yan. Surprise appeared on the faces of Qin Lingtian and the others. This data is too different from the information Ling Feng gave initially. If this is true, then these anomalies are not only far stronger than other ability users of the same level, but their level advancement speed is also so terrifying. Listening to the discussions of the people around him, Qin Lingtian reached out and repeatedly rubbed his chin. There wasn't much worry on his face, but it's unknown what he's thinking. Since that's the case, then let's split into 2 teams for this mission. Gao Feng will handle Modu. Zhao Mingtang and I will be enough. The rest will be led by Lin Qinghan. And go to Zhongnan. Any questions? After thinking about it, they realized that this was indeed the optimal allocation plan. The 3 who went to Modu. Besides Qin Lingtian, the remaining 2 are late sulfur monosulfide class. The remaining 2 guardians going to Zhongnan are all mid-stage sulfur monosulfide level. The scene changes. Top floor of a skyscraper hundreds of meters high in Modu. 3 figures stood quietly, seeing countless small black dots falling from the giant sword. And only 3 flying towards Modu. On the face of the flagship, finally, a long-awaited eerie smile appeared. Okay. The supporting roles are in place. It's time for the protagonist to appear. As his voice fell, under the noses of Qin Lingtian and others, the 3 figures began to quickly flee in different directions. Playing this trick, do you really think you can escape? Qin Lingtian remained calm, let out a cold snort, and directly locked onto the most vigorous aura among them. Leave this fox to me. You guys go and chase the other 2. As the voice fell, an aura far surpassing everyone else's erupted from him. His body seemed to transform into swordlight, and instantly went towards the strange figure with 9 tails. Relying on his extreme speed, even though Su Qingming had the advantage of starting first, the distance between him and Qin Lingtian was still rapidly shrinking at an extreme speed, just as the distance between the 2 sides was less than a mile. Qin Lingtian swung the long blade in his hand forward, a blade of light flashing with lightning, instantly headed straight for Su Qingming. It seemed like just a casual strike from the opponent, but the power within made Su Qingming instantly feel a chill. What terrifying power! As if she had some guess in her mind. A trace of solemnity flashed in her pupils. Without time to think, the power of space erupted. Her body transformed. The next moment, she had already appeared 100 meters away. You actually have space powers? Qin Lingtian was full of surprise. There are no more than 5 space attribute ability users in the entire world. Qin Lingtian continuously released attacks in pursuit, forcing Su Qingming to constantly use spatial teleportation to evade. Just like that, after chasing each other for nearly half an hour, Su Qingming finally stopped. Qin Lingtian followed closely, but didn't rush to attack. Instead, he revealed a playful smile. Su Qingming's expression remained calm. Already SSS level. Looking at the abnormal Su Qingming, Qin Lingtian suddenly frowned. She directly raised her knife and watched the sunset glow. Her eyes went into the rising dust. What's going on? Qin Lingtian quickly stepped forward to check, but found that there was no one there anymore. Only on the ground, a playing card split in 2. Picking up the broken playing card on the ground, the clown's smiling face seemed extremely mocking. Dare to play me? Qin Lingtian's expression didn't change, but his pupils were clearly burning with anger. Suddenly, she seemed to think of something, going straight to the location of the remaining 2 teammates. 2 black dots were rapidly enlarging in sight. It was Qin Lingtian and his teammate rushing over. Seeing the 3 finally together, Qi Jian grinned. The wolfish look on his face vanished instantly. From beginning to end, the only one staying in Modu was 009, the magician. But the task he was responsible for was the most important part of the entire plan. As for the 9-tailed fox and angel hunter that appeared at the beginning, we have to mention his amazing ability, making a person appear out of nowhere. Obtaining a copy of the target. The copy's strength is 70% of the original. The level cannot exceed the host itself. The distance between these 2 cities is the furthest. Even if an SS-class ability user flies at full speed, they couldn't reach it even every 8 hours. A hint of pride shone in Qi Jian's eyes. He reached out and straightened his slightly messy clothes. He faced the direction of Qin Lingtian and the other 2, giving a standard bow. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. Thank you for the cooperation of you 3 actors. We'll meet again. As a wave of spatial fluctuation spread, his figure quietly broke through the void, completely disappearing from where he stood under their gaze. Qin Lingtian was silent, hovering in the low air, his face terrifyingly gloomy. The thunder that occasionally flashed around him indicated that the anger in his heart had reached its peak. The 3 of them were at least late-stage sulfur monosulfide class ability users. Yet they were completely played by an SS-class weirdo. Just as the 3 were collectively silent, an urgent voice came from the communicator. The 3 weirdos within the territory of Shanghai have all disappeared. But 2 sulfur monosulfide class auras have suddenly appeared in Jiangnan. Damn it. Chen Lingtian and the other 2 instantly exchanged glances, seeing the dread in each other's eyes. Facing 4 sulfur monosulfide class weirdos, even the 2 guardians might have difficulty protecting themselves. As for the remaining 40-plus team members, their fate was predictable. Chen Lingtian bit his teeth in anger. He took the lead. The 2 guardians assisted side by side in the low air. Behind them were over 40 team members, eager to fight. I advise you not to struggle. Just surrender obediently. You'll suffer less. However, looking at the numerous ability users surrounding them, the 7 people led by Lu Loyan were calm and composed. Everyone's here. Let's begin. Hearing Lu Loyan's light voice, Bai Linger nodded, stuck out a small part of her tongue, and licked her lips with inexplicable excitement. Ghost Gate. Open. A heavy bronze drum door descended from the sky, and silently crashed down between the 2 sides. Ling Feng's hands, prepared for defense, froze in midair. Looking at the empty ghost gate, his mind was filled with confusion. But just as the 2 sides were ready to fight at any moment, from the wide-open gate of ghosts, 2 humanoid silhouettes slowly appeared. One of these 2 figures was the bizarre Zero Mist she longed for, Ancient Angel. As for the other figure, accompanied by Zanju and Hu Wei, she hadn't seen it before. How is that possible? How could there be 2 more sulfur monosulfide level machine Oni here? From the very beginning of the plan, Kyubi and the Ancient Angel stayed in Bai Linger's White Oni domain. The 2 easily evaded the psychic radar detection, allowing Qin Lingtian and the others to successfully fall into the magician's trap. Now, their appearance completely changes the situation. In the blink of an eye, the situation for both sides is completely reversed. If an sulfur monosulfide level Oni gets free, any single strike could kill a dozen A-level or B-level psychics. The Psychic Association absolutely cannot afford this kind of loss. Ling Feng's gaze was locked firmly on the Ancient Angel opposite him. His blood rushed to his head along with the beating of his heart. Although he was a whole 2 minor levels lower than the Ancient Angel in the tower game, he had already figured out all of the opponent's moves. He was confident that as long as he was careful, even if he was 2 minor levels lower, he would not necessarily lose to this Oni. The 2 guardians, Wen Yan, both frowned in unison, but thinking that Ling Feng was now at the late stage of S level, at the very least, he could share some of the pressure. So they readily agreed. But the 2 of us can't spare our hands. You need to solve O2's ghost dispersal first. Otherwise, our team members might suffer heavy losses. As soon as the words fell, 2 guardians had already rushed towards the catcher Angel Gravedigger and the 9-tailed bow. Ling Feng, strong and sturdy, also quickly rushed towards the ghost dispersal who was preparing to attack several parties. Ghost dispersal is already a well-known anomaly. The opponent is only in the early stages of S rank. With his current cultivation, it's easy to handle. Bai Ling was originally planning to clear out a wave of small fry first. Seeing Ling Feng rushing towards him, he grumbled in annoyance. So annoying. Why is this guy coming to me? I can't even kill him. I really don't know what the adult sees in him. Lu Chenyan beside him couldn't help but smile softly. It seems like the task of taking blood this time will be handed over to you. Leave the small fry to me and Juhou. Ling Feng knew Juhu's destructive power in group fights. He originally wanted to intervene, but unexpectedly, Bai Ling from afar had already followed closely behind. A palm shrouded in ghostly energy struck directly at his chest. Seeing this scene, Ling Feng raised his eyebrows in surprise. He seemed to not expect Bai Ling to dare to initiate an attack. But he didn't pay much attention to it. He just casually swung his sword as a block. Unexpectedly, it was easily deflected in an instant. Ling Feng's eyes widened immediately. But it was already too late to react. He could only watch as his chest solidly took the full force of the palm strike. Ling Feng, who was sent flying dozens of meters, clutched his chest, which was throbbing with pain. After struggling to stand up, he looked at Bai Linger with disbelief. How could I not even beat Ghost Umbrella number 002? Ling Feng couldn't understand it. Why he was clearly the higher level one. Actually, this is all thanks to yours truly. To save costs, those so-called life spirit pills are actually defective products. Although they can indeed increase levels and promote advancement, a large amount of impurities accumulate in the spiritual sea, causing Ling Feng to be all show and no substance. His true strength now is probably around the level of an ordinary mid-stage S-class. But Ling Feng, not understanding the reason, instinctively, simply couldn't accept this fact. Then the words he confidently spoke earlier Wouldn't they, in front of so many people, become a complete joke? He stared intently at the ghost umbrella opposite him. A surge of anger burst from his eyes. I don't believe it. There's no way I can't even beat trash like you. Ling Feng flicked his wrist. The sword instantly revealed its sharp edge. A familiar spatial aura emanated from the blade. You forced me to do this. In Ling Feng's cold voice. A dense spatial power had already begun to gather frantically. In just a moment, that horrifying aura condensed into a gray sword spear in the palm of his right hand. He assumed a drawing sword stance, his eyes fixed on the ghost umbrella. He adopted a posture ready to draw and strike. This strike. You have no hope of survival. Only a rush of wind could be heard. Before Ling Feng could finish speaking, Bai Linger's figure flickered like a ghost in the air. In the blink of an eye, she was directly in front of him. Ling Feng's eyes widened. He didn't expect the ghostly being before him to not play by the rules. Attacking while he was charging up a big move, Bai Linger, with a playful smile, extended the white paper umbrella in her hand. Using the tip of the umbrella, she held it against a certain point on the sword. Instantly, Ling Feng felt the weight in his hand suddenly increase. No matter how hard he tried, the sword remained stuck in its scabbard, unmoving. Looking at Ling Feng, who was sweating profusely, Bai Linger revealed a hint of disdain in her eyes. So, you're charging up a big move in front of me? Little kid, what were you thinking? You haven't read too many novels, have you? Thinking I'd wait for you to finish powering up before attacking? Facing a strange mockery, the expression on Ling Feng's face suddenly changed. His whole face turned green and white. It was as ugly as it could be. As ugly as it could be. Damn guy. Shut up. Courage is commendable. Looks like I've given you too much face. Bai Linger snorted coldly. The crimson demon pupil instantly flashed. He directly pressed his hand on the crown of Ling Feng's head. Suddenly exerting force downwards, a deafening sound rang out. With fear in his eyes, Ling Feng was directly pressed into the ground by Bai Linger's hand on his head. Slammed into the ground, Bai Linger looked like a little witch. Sweet, bright red lips. A satisfied smile appeared on his face. He had controlled his strength just now. A hard press that doesn't hurt the brain. After venting, Bai Linger smiled, pulled Ling Feng, whose head was still buried in the dirt, out. As soon as his head came out of the ground, only then did Ling Feng seem to come back to life. He greedily took several deep breaths of fresh air. Did I really get knocked stupid? He's supposed to be an S rank. How can he be so weak? Bai Linger looked disgusted. She pinched his collar with 2 fingers, lifted him into the air and shook him. But Ling Feng was still like a dead dog, his limbs hanging limply. He let himself be swayed in the air. Oh well. Stupid is stupid. Anyway, the boss just wants him alive. I almost forgot after playing for so long. I still have to take some blood. The instant his hand was cut open, the sharp pain gradually brought Ling Feng back to consciousness. He used the last bit of strength in his body to struggle desperately. Bai Linger scratched her head. How much did the boss say to take? Oh well. Let's fill them up. Looking at the containers being changed one after another, Ling Feng's face was pale. He was too weak to even speak. Soon, with eyes full of despair, he passed out completely. On the other side of the battlefield, under the siege of 3 sulfur monosulfide class anomalies, the 2 guardians are already at their limit. Damn it. How can these ghosts be so strong? Their strength completely surpasses ability users of the same rank by a large margin. Where's Ling Feng? It's been so long. His side should be finished too, right? However, just as they took a moment to look in Ling Feng's direction, the scene that came into view instantly stunned them both. Isn't he a late-stage S-class? How could he be killed by an early-stage S-class anomaly? At this moment, the 2 exchanged glances, both seeing the look of fear in each other's eyes. They originally thought they had an advantage in numbers, but who knew that after Zhu Hu and the Siren each unleashed a wave of mowing skills, nearly half the people on the field were gone. Let's use the energy explosion. We're going to die anyway. Might as well take a few down with us, to be buried together. Upon hearing this, the other guardian's emotions instantly became agitated. He shook his head repeatedly, with an expression of extreme resistance on his face. We still have a chance, let's leave them. With only 3 anomalies, the 2 of us can still escape. Just as he finished speaking, an aura of spatial attributes instantly sealed off the surroundings. The 2 guardians completely lost hope. Why is there another SS-class anomaly? We're completely done for now. Then, one guardian took out from his chest a syringe filled with red liquid, and without hesitation, stabbed it into his own neck. This energy-boosting drug allows skills to briefly return to their peak state, and even slightly increases strength. But the price is that after the effects wear off, the heart's meridians will be severed, and death is certain. Seeing his comrade beside him gamble his life, the other, with a look of sorrow, fiercely stabbed the thin syringe into his neck. The strength of both instantly reached the late stage of SS class. You all forced me to do this. You'll all die with me. Quickly deal with these two. The guys in Modu are a bit tricky. Seems like there's an SS class Esper. Hearing the flagship's words, the four of them simultaneously launched a barrage of attacks against the two. 10 minutes later, before the drug's effects even wore off, the bodies of the two guardians had already been riddled with holes by the four, and all of their energy was absorbed by the others. The three of them also touched the threshold of the next realm. Su Qingling successfully broke through to the late stage of SS class. She licked her lips. The feeling just now made her feel even a little unsatisfied. At the same time, several people looked at the remaining dozen or so. Extreme power users. The mosquitoes are feasting on Ono. Those three guys should be arriving soon too. Don't waste them. Yin Luo. Their limbs were strangely twisted like demons. Instantly, they all pounced on the group of extreme power users. After seeing this terrifying scene, they didn't hesitate at all. The dozen or so people began to scatter and flee. Su Qingling easily grabbed another person again. After sucking their spiritual power dry in one gulp, she casually threw them aside. Just as she was about to set off again, the pair of antennae on her head suddenly twitched slightly. Those three guys are here, Gui Sanwen said, collecting the several bottles of blood that were now full. He casually threw the half-dead Ling Feng aside. What are we going to do next? Shall we run away? Su Qing's gaze suddenly turned towards the horizon. The corner of her mouth curled into a mischievous smile. Since they went to so much trouble to find us, how can we not return the favor? Everyone seemed to understand, looking towards the huge silhouette in the sky, all revealing knowing smiles. By the time Qin Lingtian and the other two rushed over, the ground was empty. Qin Lingtian's eyes were bloodshot. He couldn't suppress the anger in his heart and roared to the sky. He clearly possessed SSS-level power. But in this battle, he had all the strength, but couldn't put it to any use. Seemingly having heard the commotion, a disheveled figure carefully approached. Captain Qin, is that you? The person who spoke was Chen Luo, one of the original Lingtian team members. Chen Luo. Qin Lingtian quickly flashed to behind the ruins where they were hiding. There were a total of 5 people here. Looking at their miserable state, Qin Lingtian suddenly felt ashamed. Turning his head expressionlessly, Qin Lingtian punched the collapsed ruins that resembled a small mountain. All buildings within 100 meters were leveled. Check if there are any survivors. If not, let's return to the imperial capital. The survivors, upon hearing the order, dragged their tired bodies, walking towards the devastated battlefield. Chen Luo, for some reason, unconsciously, came to Lin Feng's side. Looking at Lin Feng's face, devoid of all color, he couldn't help but show a look of regret. Just as he was about to leave, his peripheral vision seemed to catch a glimpse of the other's chest. Trembling slightly, Chen Luo hesitated for a moment, and finally squatted down to check Lin Feng's breathing. Captain Qin, Lin Feng is still alive. Hearing Chen Luo's voice, he immediately flashed over. He's still breathing. Doesn't seem to have any injuries. The cause is blood loss. Qin Lingtian frowned slightly in confusion. But Lin Feng's situation was not optimistic. Without time to think, he quickly released the power that he hadn't been able to use, covering his whole body, preserving Lin Feng's last breath. Of the 52 people who came, only 9 ultimately returned alive. More importantly, they didn't even kill a single anomaly. Just as everyone thought, when everything was finally over, suddenly, a sound came from directly ahead. A violent explosion, a huge commotion, instantly caught the group's attention. The scene that unfolded made his hardly calmed heart explode again like a volcanic eruption. In less than the blink of an eye, the entire giant ship began to fall, straight down from the sky. Qin Lingtian gritted his teeth with bloodshot eyes. This time he truly lost both the lady and the army. Lying in prison, I gleefully watched Qin Lingtian's impotent rage. These guys are really ruthless. I remember the entire association only had 3 of these. That's going to make those old guys' hearts ache for a while. As expected, after this group is either dead or gone, it should alarm those old monsters. I still have too few usable anomalies in my hands. I need to hurry up and get a few more potions made. Then, I opened the system space backpack. This time, there were only 5 materials inside. Now I only need this last epic level material. Then I'll have all 6. To synthesize my first legendary level material. I've been farming materials continuously for over half a month. And haven't gotten a single epic one. At the same time, I remembered that today's shop hasn't refreshed yet. I originally didn't have any expectations. But unexpectedly, a dazzling golden light suddenly caught my eye. It's really a legendary material. Looks like I don't need to worry about the last epic material anymore. So I directly chose to exchange it. With this material, plus 2 epic ones, I should be able to mix an SSS level weird potion. I first put this true blood of a Jiaolong into the main slot of the synthetic potion. Then, I picked out 2 from the remaining 5 epic materials and stuffed them into the auxiliary slot of the synthetic potion. Before long, a bottle of cyan blue liquid appeared in the space backpack. I looked at the potion in front of me and showed a satisfied smile. Looks like it's time to set off and find new members again. The scene changes to the East District of Nanlu. People here often make a living by fishing. And across the sea is a notorious island nation, the Eastern Ying Empire. Zhou Shuliang climbed onto a small fishing boat and waved with a smile to the neighbors on the shore who looked worried. The fishing boat slowly sailed from the harbor towards the depths of the sea. When Zhou Shuliang was young, it was because of an invasion by those Dongying pirates that both of his parents were killed. From then on, he became a child, raised by the entire village. Because this place is remote and not governed by people with special abilities, it is often harassed by Dongying's anti-ability users. The fishermen here can only reduce the amount they go out to reduce trouble. To avoid courting disaster, Zhou Shualong controlled the fishing boat to slow down slowly at a certain point and walked back to the cabin. He took out a neatly stacked, huge fishing net. Hopefully today's harvest will be good. Grandpa Joe is almost out of grain. Need to send some over. And Aunt Wang. Just then, a sudden gunshot woke up Zhou Shualong, who was in a daze. And the bullet hole was less than half a meter away from him. Then a boat much bigger than his own appeared. It's that group of pirates from the Dongying Empire. Immediately, another shot was fired. The bullet landed on the wooden box in front of Zhou Shualong. The people on the fishing boat saw Zhou Shulang's embarrassing appearance and couldn't help but laugh heartily. It seemed that his life had become a toy for the people on the other side to have fun with. This group of sons of bitches. They're going too far, thinking that his parents had also died tragically at the hands of the people in front of him. Zhou Shulang's eyes instantly turned red. He flipped over, quickly rolled to the fishing boat's engine and restarted it. Then, he aimed the bow of the boat at the sailboat that was now less than 100 meters away. He gathered his strength and charged straight at it. Seeing the fishing boat rushing towards them, the several Japanese people on the sailboat's deck panicked instantly. Baka! How dare he use that broken boat to ram us? Isn't he afraid of death? Their leader, Miki Ryota, had a gloomy expression at this moment. His expression was also very ugly. He was the one who originally came up with the idea of having some fun. Who would have thought that this person would directly ram into them? I don't believe he has that kind of guts. Just a commoner from Kanglan dares to ram the ship of my Japanese empire? Saying that, Miki Ryota's expression suddenly turned cold. He raised his voice and shouted to the helmsman behind him. Give me maximum speed. I don't believe he's not afraid to die. Let's see who gets scared first. Amidst the excited shouts of several people, as the helmsman adjusted the direction, the 2 ships on the sea began to accelerate towards each other head-on. Seeing these Japanese people who live a good life so excited, Zhou Shuliang couldn't help but grin. These Japanese people really have no brains. Ramming me with a wooden boat? There are quite a few people. 1 life for 8. Maybe Zhou Shuliang will make it into the family tree. Bring honor to my ancestors. The distance between the 2 sides is less than 10 meters. He grabbed the one next to him, the steel shovel used for fishing, and hid behind the cabin. Someone couldn't stand the pressure. Stepped out with a little fear on his face. Shouldn't we change direction quickly? Sanmu Liangtai was also a little flustered at this time. But remembering what he said earlier, he boasted so much about the Bushido of Dongying. If he retreats now, isn't he slapping himself in the face? Then he ordered to fire at Zhou Shuliang's ship. And his ship was shot full of dense bullet holes. But their bullets still couldn't stop. The 2 ships collided heavily together. Only a loud noise was heard. The bows of the 2 ships crashed together completely and solidly. Then a large amount of seawater poured into the cabin frantically from that huge gap. Before long, the entire sailboat began to sink rapidly to the bottom of the sea. Seeing that the seawater had exceeded the deck, Soggy shoe soles. The faces of several Japanese instantly became extremely terrified. Miki Ryota also never expected. Just a commoner from the Azure Empire actually had the courage to die with them. Just then, a voice suddenly rang out from in front of the group. You little bastards. Your Grandpa Joe is here. Taking advantage of the moment of stunned silence, Zhou Shuliang aimed at the closest Japanese person and stabbed him in the chest without hesitation. The person who was stabbed let out a scream and immediately fell to the ground. Miki Ryota finally reacted and angrily drew the katana from his hand. The water mist turned into a blade just as it left his hand, instantly slicing Zhou Shuliang's steel fork in half and landed heavily on his chest. Zhou Shuliang frowned slightly, but as he touched the huge wound, he laughed like a madman. So there's another Esper. I'm going now. The pain in his chest gradually disappeared. Zhou Shuliang swallowed seawater in large gulps until his consciousness slowly blurred. Finally, the world became completely dark. Am I going to die? A clear, ethereal voice appeared out of nowhere. It lingered in his mind. If you were given another life, what would you do with it? Zhou Shuliang was speechless. He thought for a moment. Then, as if joking, he silently muttered to himself. If I could have another life, I would definitely conquer the entire land of the rising sun. Congratulations. You have been saved. In a daze, he seemed to feel a warm liquid entering his mouth from the outside. Then, as if something was growing outward from his flesh and blood, sharp, covered in rice thorns, piercing the epidermis one by one. Suddenly, Zhou Shuliang laughed towards the sky, letting out a painful roar. The wound on his chest had somehow turned black, and in its place were those pieces that felt incredibly sharp to the touch and were filled with metallic spiritual fields. This made him very confused. Spiritual shards. On my body. Why would a spirit field grow? Zhou Shuliang incredulously squatted down, but then belatedly realized that now he was actually standing directly on the water, leaving him momentarily stunned, appearing somewhat at a loss. Isn't this your wish? To have another life? Zhou Shuliang was startled to hear this, and immediately turned his head behind him. Who are you? Looking at Zhou Shuliang, who was still in shock and doubt. I didn't answer. Calm down first, and then familiarize yourself with your new body. Creation complete. Please name the aberrant sequence 011. Looking at the cow tendon-like muscles on the other party, I thought for a moment. Let's call it Shui Kui, Water Demon. Aberrant sequence 011 Shui Kui has been successfully entered into the aberrant archive. I opened Shui Kui's attribute panel. The level is only mid-SSS grade 7. It seems this true blood of the Jiao dragon can only be considered average among legendary materials. No wonder it only needs 2,000 creation points. I'm currently pondering. Should I inherit all of 11's cultivation now? That way I can return to SSS level mid-7 strength. But I definitely won't be able to go back to that prison, pretending to be a normal person. The Imperial capital is the center of the entire Azure Empire. Once I go back with this cultivation, I'll probably be discovered before I even enter the city. After thinking for a moment, I'm also tired of being inside. Then let's make a happy decision. I won't go back. Mid-7 realm. Plus so many bizarre abilities. I should be able to fight those old geezers. I looked at the person's panel, at the column for inheriting cultivation, and unhesitatingly chose the confirm button. Please confirm, host, whether to choose to pay 5,000 creation points to inherit the realm level to SSS level mid-7. Confirm. Then, streams of heat appeared from nowhere and began to pour into my body like crazy. I only heard a sound. That membrane that had made countless people struggle fruitlessly for decades was finally easily broken through. SSS complete. Feeling this long-lost power. But it's still just so-so. But it's enough to beat up those old fogies. At the same time, Zhou Shuliang, who had been waiting for a long time, immediately stepped forward and bowed respectfully to me. 011 Water Kui. Greets Your Excellency. Thank you, Your Excellency, for bestowing this power. Zhou Shuliang will risk life and limb for you in this lifetime. Good. A smile appeared on the corner of my mouth. Try a slash towards a location in the distance. Go and take care of what you want to do first. Zhou Shuliang looked in the direction. He saw that at a location tens of miles away, the two ships that had collided earlier had completely sunk into the sea. His figure flashed. His speed was so fast that it was almost invisible to the naked eye, leaving behind only a ripple of water in the original place. At this moment, Mitsuki Ryota and the others We're drifting on a broken raft. Why don't we row over there first? And then seize their ship to return to Dongyan? After a little thought, Mitsuki Ryota's eyes lit up instantly. Good. Let's do that. Suddenly, directly in front of Xiaofa, a surge of waves rose up. The sudden sound startled a few people. Sanmu Liangtai looked around, but he found no one on the vast sea. Baga! Who's playing tricks? Come out here. Good son. Grandpa Zhou is here. Even though Zhou Shuliang's appearance had changed drastically, coupled with the familiar tone, Sanmu Liangtai recognized him instantly. You're that Azure person from before. He stared intently at Zhou Shuliang. Regardless of disbelief or death, Zhou Shuliang looked at the astonished and uncertain expressions of everyone. A mocking arc appeared at the corner of his mouth. You slashed me once. Now I'm going to return it in person. He stretched out his monster-like hand. The fingertip flashed with toad-like strength, and gently tapped the other party's chest. Don't kill me. I was wrong. I'll never dare bully you Azure people again. Accompanied by the voice of pleading, Zhou Shuliang's finger slowly moved towards Sanmu Liangtai's lower body. After dealing with it, Zhou Shuliang waved his hand into the sea. Kids, dinner's ready. The next moment, a 3-meter-long shark couldn't wait to burst out of the water, opening its bloody mouth wide. In just a moment, it swallowed the rest of the people whole. Zhou Shuliang clenched his fist. The expression on his face didn't show any pleasure. You are just appetizers. It's the blood feud of Falumu. I will personally get it back bit by bit from you, Dongying. The scene changes to the Sichuan coast of the Dongying Empire. 2 tiny black dots suddenly appear on the sea's surface, then quickly grow larger, until 2 humanoid figures appear. I didn't plan to hide my tracks this time at all, so I directly used the most conspicuous way, stepping on the surging waves. Such an unusual movement is definitely not a natural change in the ocean. The next moment, a figure rises into the air from a position not far from the coast. Bold. Where do you thieves come from? How dare you invade the territory of my Dongying Empire for no reason? I am Dongying Sichuan, the current patriarch of the Mamaki family. Mamaki say, who are you? But after seeing the faces of the 2 people, Sanmu Jing couldn't help but chuckle. You are ability users from Azure country. To provoke my Eastern Ying Empire like this. Aren't you afraid we will start a war with you? Zhou Shuliang smiled as he looked at Sanmu Jing, his expression intriguing. You're called Sanmu Jing? What is Sanmu Ryota to you? You know my son? Zhou Shuliang flashed a row of white teeth. Looking proud, he pointed to his chest with his thumb. Dead. I killed him with my own hands. Sanmu Jing's eyes instantly turned bloodshot, his pupils filled with blood vessels. Staring intently at the unrestrained Zhou Shuliang, he immediately drew the saber from his waist. A few strands of special fluctuation suddenly emitted from the hilt of the saber, instantly merging with Sanmu Jing. Sanmu Jing, now one with the saber, instantly straightened his aura, and his original late-stage S-class cultivation abruptly increased a level, nearly touching the threshold of the peak S-class. With a roar, Sanmu Jing unleashed chaotic but orderly rapid slashes, creating afterimages. Zhou Shuliang not only didn't slow down, but actually dropped his guard, allowing the other party to land a solid blow. Before Sanmu Jing could even feel happy, a metallic, fragrant sound. Instantly, it came from the point where the blade touched the skin. How could this be? San Mu Jing was immediately shocked. Looking up, he realized that Zhou Shuliang's body was now covered in silver scales. Sensing danger, San Mu Jing pushed on the long saber in his hand, trying to use the force to retreat. But it was too late. Immediately after, a large, powerful hand slowly imprinted itself on his forehead. Unexpectedly, no bloody scene followed. Zhou Shuliang just slightly moved his lips several times, as if reciting a spell. Then, San Mu Jing, curled up on the beach, began to tremble all over. In the next instant, scales similar to Zhou Shuliang's grew on his body. When everything was over, San Mu Jing had become a simplified version of a water ghoul. I wasn't surprised by this, because it's similar to the ancient Angel's bone golems. But the dependents transformed from water ghouls possess the memories and independent consciousness they had in life. However, that's not what I'm interested in now. It's the sword in his hand. I raised my hand, and that katana was retrieved into the system space. Subsequently, its information also emerged. Tachimura Hamaru, a special material formed by being stained with a mysterious aura, can be used to synthesize special sequences. I frowned. Hamaru. For a moment, the name felt familiar. It seems to be a handbell sword from the small days of the previous life. If it's not a coincidence, then could it be in the Japanese Empire? There are other similar weapons that have been stained with this special aura? I didn't expect this trip to have unexpected gains. At this time, the proud Makiko spirit has completely changed. Already stood up, incredibly feeling the changes in his body. Seeing that Zhou Shuliang, Makiko's spirit, still looked angry, wanting to curse but subconsciously blurting out master. Zhou Shuliang nodded slightly. Not exactly satisfied but still passable. Not bad, at least the body is much stronger than before. I flashed in front of Makiko's spirit. Where did this sword come from? But Makiko's spirit just snorted coldly and didn't even look up, looking like he would rather die than submit. Seeing this situation, Zhou Shuliang's brow furrowed deeply. His face instantly turned gloomy. You dare not answer the Lord's question? Courting death. Immediately, Mickey Jin felt an unparalleled giant begin to emanate from the depths of his soul. It was as if flesh was being scraped off piece by piece. This kind of pain from the depths of the soul, even the strongest ability users couldn't endure for even a moment. He struggled violently on the beach, while forcing himself to kowtow repeatedly to Zhou Shuliang. Master, I was wrong. I was wrong. I thought you had strong bones. Is this all? If it weren't for the master needing you, you would die next time. In order not to experience that extreme pain again, he once again pointed his head at me and kowtowed heavily. Master, the katana in your hand is called Muramasa. It is a treasured sword passed down through the generations of our Mickey family. Legend has it that this sword has killed many monsters, and possesses the power to ward off evil spirits. I pondered in my heart. Although these rumors may not be true, they are probably somewhat related to that kind of mysterious aura that the system mentioned. Within Japan, are there any other objects similar to this sword? Mickey Jin had already guessed what I wanted to do. He could only nod weakly. Throughout the entire history of Japan, there are 3 most famous demon-suppressing artifacts. These 3 artifacts belong to the 3 great clans among the 8 major forces. The Yuan clan's Demon Blade, Onikiri, the Muramasa clan's Demon Blade, Muramasa, and the top of the 3 great artifacts, the Kusanagi clan's Kusanagi no Tsurugi sword. Kusanagi. These familiar names made me even more curious about these so-called artifacts. Led by Mikitsu, we quickly arrived at the central area of the entire Nishikawa island. But before we could set foot, a figure had already flashed in front of us. I am the current head of the Yuan clan, Yuan Tenga. If the 2 of you are here for sightseeing, we are naturally welcome. But if you're looking for trouble, Yuan Tengai's tone was very calm, but it seemed to hide a sharp edge, vaguely giving people a strong sense of deterrence. I want the sword in your hand. Will you give it to me yourself? Or do I have to do it myself? And take it? He subconsciously tightened his grip on the knife. His expression was cold. He said without a shred of room for negotiation. Delusional. The real face of Zhou Shuliang grinned. His entire being was like a giant hammer falling at high speed. He crashed straight towards Yuan Tenga. Even with the void separating them, Yuan Tenga could still feel his heart pounding. What terrifying power. No. I absolutely can't take that head on. Before Yuan Tenga could even move, that burly figure had already arrived in front of him. Yuan Tengai's body was instantly sent flying hundreds of meters away. After crashing heavily to the ground, he then reached out and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He seemed to struggle for a long time, but finally gritted his teeth and shouted towards the empty space not far away. How long are you going to keep watching? The next moment, a white figure suddenly appeared in the previously empty space, looking at the disheveled Yuan Teng. Oh dear, my dear brother. You're not already giving up, are you? The abandoned son of the Sha Yuan clan, the successor to the nameless divine wind style. Yuan Teng and Zhou Shuliang's expressions turned slightly serious. They twisted their necks. Immediately, a series of bone collisions and friction sounds were emitted. Then let's all go together. Let me see what strength you Japanese have. Yuan Teng always had a smiling appearance, but the feeling he gave was like a top assassin hiding a dagger in his smile. At the same time, an incomparably sharp aura turned into a sharp knife, heading straight for Zhou Shuliang's forehead. SSS level late stage. Nameless divine wind first style. A leisurely, light congratulatory sound rang from his ear. Zhou Shuliang didn't even see the person clearly. Caught off guard, Zhou Shuliang had no choice but to raise his arms, covered in Jiaolong scale armor, and cross them in front of his chest, using them as a shield. What made Zhou Shuliang's expression grave was that his indestructible arms now had a thin red line on them. When he tried to heal it, he found that the wound seemed to be blocked by some kind of energy, and couldn't heal at all. Before he could think more, the second attack almost immediately followed. Yuan Tang also held the onikiri and stabbed straight at his abdomen. Seeing this, Zhou Shuliang directly used Zhaolong's wrath. Terrifying power was instantly poured into the long spine. A stream of sea blue energy rapidly surged from the trident's tip, as if solidified into a dragon hand, roaring and crashing into the thunder. Nameless divine wind, second form. A blade of light flashed through the wind. After an intense collision, it barely managed to exhaust its energy along with the dragon hand. Thus, the three fought for a dozen rounds. Whenever Zhou Shuilong wanted to cripple one of them first, he would always be interrupted by the other in time. In the opponent's new round of attacks, Zhou Shuilong decided to reveal his last trump card. Dragon Burrow Grub. Transmutation. Accompanied by a roar to the sky, Zhou Shulang's already 10-foot-tall body now began to expand violently again. His face, which still retained some human features, suddenly twisted, completely transforming into a dragon rat. Accompanied by the restructuring of human bones, his upright body began to bend, turning into a beast-like posture. Under the incredulous gazes of Hara and Fujino, Zhou Shuilong transformed from a human into a dragon tens of meters long. At this moment, Zhou Shulang's inner pair of divine pupils slowly lowered, as if facing snails, looking down at Hara and Fujino. The Hara-Fujino brothers stood close together, and could even hear each other's wildly beating hearts. How is that possible? He was clearly a human. Why did he turn into a dragon? Looking at Fujino and Fujiyu, who were still stunned in place, Zhou Shuliang's dragon tail whipped through the water, instantly creating a sonic boom in the air. Watching the approaching dragon, Fujiyu's pupils contracted. He reached out and pushed away Fujino, who was still stunned. Only a dull thud of colliding flesh was heard. Fujino's body was stuck in the ground, deeply embedded. He remained motionless for a long time. Seeing Fujino's miserable state, Fujiyu suddenly roared in anger. Holding onikiri, he directly slashed the dragon's body from the side. However, now facing this kind of attack again, Zhou Shuliang didn't even bother to dodge. His full-strength attack now could no longer cause any damage to Zhou Shuliang. Zhou Shuliang contemptuously flicked his dragon tail. Fujiyu was instantly like a fly, also being slammed hard into the ground. Seeing this scene, Fujiyu, who had just struggled out of the ground, was instantly enraged. Nameless divine wind, ninth form. He raised the long sword in his hand high, pouring all the spiritual power in his body into it, placing all his hope on this final strike. But when this strike finally landed, although the impact was great, Zhou Shuliang did not suffer any actual damage. Moment. Yuan Tongyu froze in place, his eyes filled with disbelief. Just then, a dragon claw quickly reached out. It directly grabbed Yuan Tongyu in its hand, preventing him from moving at all. Then the huge dragon head opened its bloody mouth. Taking only one bite, it swallowed Yuan Tongyu alive into its stomach. Upon seeing this scene, Yuan Tengai's eyes widened. The sound from his mouth was filled with grief. However, he was greeted by another giant dragon claw. After doing all this, two strong energies were gradually absorbed in Zhou Shui Liang's belly. Soon, a completely new aura burst forth from his body. SSS late stage was complete. Watching Zhou Shui Liang's breakthrough, San Mu Jin, standing not far away, swallowed hard. The last shred of hope in his pupils was completely shattered. His body began to retreat involuntarily, facing the pair of huge pupils that were staring directly at him. San Mu Jin guiltily averted his gaze. An inexplicable sense of panic arose in his heart. Actually, you knew Yuan Tongyu was coming all along. You just wanted to wait for us to die, to regain your freedom, right? I already said it last time. Don't be dishonest again. Next time, I'll take your life. After saying that, his cavernous mouth opened again. Another bite. Frozen in a scream of terror, he swallowed Mikitsu whole. Once he finished his breathing exercises, he transformed, changing back into the appearance of a normal human. He quickly walked up to me. Lord, it's all taken care of. Regarding Mikitsu concealing information, when Hara Fujiwa appeared, I could see some discrepancies from his expression. Immediately afterward, I put Hara Fujiwa's sword into the system space. And the purple light emanating from the sword was indeed an epic material. If I had to guess, the other two artifacts are at least epic level. It wouldn't be impossible for them to be even higher. Zhou Shuliang has been killed. The only two SSS level ability users on the entire Nishikawa island. In a sense, this entire island already belongs to me. Since that's the case, why not take it? Might as well completely make the entire island my own. The most direct method now is to convert everyone in the two major factions into Zhao people. So, after one night, the entire Sichuan island, all the ability users of sea level and above were turned into charred corpses. The total number was nearly 10,000. The two strongest were the second in commands of the primitive and nameless Divine Wind School. Both were sulfur monosulfide level late stage. And next, they are going to Winter Island to find the second divine weapon. To find the owner of the Muramasa blade. The Muramasa clan. Even though they are in two different areas. The commotion on Sichuan Island yesterday was so big. What happened is already known to everyone. At this moment, everyone is gathered in the Muramasa clan's residence, looking anxiously at the middle-aged man sitting at the head of the table. Muramasa Kizu. How long until General Miyamoto can arrive? Muramasa Kizu's face was gloomy. Then he shook his head with difficulty. The Prime Minister is afraid that the enemy will attack North Star Island, and has ordered us to deal with the enemy. General Miyamoto is staying behind to guard North Star Island. Hearing this news, the other three cursed under their breaths with ugly faces. And here, only Muramasa Kizu is at the late stage of SS level. The others are only at the mid stage. What can they do to deal with it? They're here. Let's go. Let's go out and see what kind of monsters they are. Muramasa Kazai looked wary. His eyes darted back and forth between me and Zhou Shuliang, attacking my Eastern Camp Empire for no reason, and killing my citizens. Are all of you Kangmaru people like this? I smiled. You stole my things. Muramasa Kazai's eyes widened instantly. Impossible. When did we steal your things? I didn't answer. Instead, I brazenly took out a small butter knife. Then, in front of everyone, I casually threw it into the dense forest below. Now you have. Zhou Shuliang grinned. He transformed and merged again, rushing straight towards the crowd. In less than 2.5 seconds, Muramasa Kazai had been completely digested. And the other three spineless men didn't hesitate at all, directly dropping their weapons and decisively surrendering. As the saying goes, a wise man knows when to submit. At this moment, I was receiving the long sword handed over by Zhou Shuliang. After returning it to the system space, another dazzling purple light emerged. The demon sword Muramasa is indeed extraordinary. Synthetic material dyed with some kind of special energy. Not bad. Only the last one is missing. Maybe there will be a surprise. Looks like the second bottle of SSS potion isn't far away either. After explaining everything, I took advantage of the afterglow of dusk and began to sense the location of the last divine artifact, the Kusanagi sword. According to the information I got before, the Kusanagi is located on the southernmost main island of the entire Dongying Empire, Minema Hirajima. But after arriving at the destination, the scene that came into view surprised me a little, because the Kusanagi clan, known as the #1 clan in Dongying, even their clan residence has turned into ruins. Many white bones are buried in the ruins, but not even half a living person can be seen. I frowned slightly. After thinking for a moment, I immediately released my full aura and spread it across the entire island. Soon I found a presence in a deserted mountain in the northern part of the island. That was obviously different from ordinary people. This aura should be that guy. But it's much weaker. Inside a dilapidated temple, a monk is kneeling in front of a broken Buddha statue, oblivious to the outside world, single-mindedly striking the wooden fish in front of him. I stopped 10 steps away from that figure and raised my eyebrows slightly. Kusazuri Kumoi. Looks like you're not doing so well in your eastern land either. Hearing this familiar voice, the monk's body visibly trembled. Chen Lingyu. How could it be you? Weren't all your powers destroyed? And you were locked up in Azure? I smiled. If I didn't want to be, do you think that bunch of good-for-nothings could hold me? After a long while, Kusazuri Kumoi's voice returned to normal. So you're here to laugh at me? How could I? We were half comrades after all. I'll still leave you half a face. In that battle back then, Kusazuri Kumoi was the only one in the Eastern Empire who volunteered to fight. Whether this person is good or not, or bad, is hard to say. But at least he didn't disgust me. Kusazuri Kumoi went to battle back then, not to save the common people, but because his meticulous research had hit a bottleneck, and he wanted to take the opportunity to hone himself. In short, Kusazuri Kumoi is just a swordsman without emotions. I'm quite curious why you suddenly decided to become a monk. As you can see, foundation ruined, hands crippled. Can't practice swordsmanship without me asking the reason. This time, Kusagami Ungyo opened his mouth first. Back then, after that battle, I was seriously injured. My strength was greatly diminished in a short time. My Kusagami clan and the knight in Ichiryu are age-old enemies. Miyamoto Tanin took that time and slaughtered my entire Kusagami clan. He seemingly kindly spared my life, but crippled my hands, making it impossible for me to pick up a sword in this lifetime. Living in pain. Wow, that's pretty terrible for you. That's what I said. But there wasn't a trace of sympathy on my face. Instead, the corners of my mouth couldn't help but turn up. Seeing this, Kusagami Ungyo's eyes twitched slightly. What exactly did you come to me for? If you have nothing to do, leave quickly. Don't stay here and bother me. If I have a way for you to restore your cultivation. Do you want to seek revenge? Kusagami Ungyo's body suddenly trembled. Sitting before the Buddha, he was silent for a long time before slowly speaking. No, I've already let it go. I curled my lips. What about your Kusanagi sword? Anyway, you won't be needing it. Then give it to me as a gift. Staring at Shen Linyu's unreserved smile, Kusanagi Unkyo was silent again. Can I still choose revenge? I affirmed his question, and then silently extended my hand to him. But you still have to give me that sword. After a brief exchange of glances, he seemed to deflate all of a sudden. Go get it yourself behind the Buddha statue. Wen Yan, I patted my butt and smiled. Standing up from the prayer mat. When passing by Kusanagi Unkyo, I patted the other person's shoulder meaningfully. Don't worry, I won't take your things for nothing. Then I silently added the second half in my heart. I also want you to work for me. Waiting to walk behind the Buddha statue. A sword wrapped in cloth was tightly unwrapped, revealing the sword blade that can be called a treasure. After I put it into the system space, a dazzling and brilliant golden light suddenly burst out. The Kusanagi sword. Legend. Legend has it that it was forged by the Yamada no Orochi, the artifact that seals a wisp of the Yamada no Orochi's remnant soul. Just in time, the test subject has regained blood. After gathering these so-called 3 sacred treasures of Japan, I unlocked the system synthesis potion function. The legendary Kusanagi sword is the main ingredient. In the remaining 2 secondary ingredients are the onikiri and the muramasa, 3 materials of different colors, instantly turned into liquid, intertwining with each other. A few seconds later, a vial of pure white liquid mixed with strands of black light appeared in my inventory. Taking it in hand, I deliberately flaunted it in front of Kusanagi Kumoy. Drink this thing, and you can restore your previous level. As soon as these words were spoken, he immediately faintly heard Kusanagi Kumoy's slightly hurried voice. As a condition of exchange, I want you to help me take down the entire Japanese empire. How about it? Hearing this request, Kusanagi Kumoy was no longer calm. Ouch! He jumped up from the cushion with a shocked expression. Even the muyu placed aside was kicked away several meters. He also seemed completely unaware. He just stared intently at me. He never expected that the ambition of the man before him was so great. He wanted to seize the entire empire of Japan for himself. But then he thought, with the strength of this former world number 1, it seemed that accomplishing this wasn't entirely impossible. Kusanagi Unkyo couldn't even imagine what it would be like when that day really came. What a turbulent darkness this person would unleash upon the world. With emotions that lingered and couldn't be calmed, the feigned composure on Kusanagi Unkyo's face was gone. This time when he looked at me, his once dim eyes had become bright and piercing. You want to take down the empire of Japan. And then you want me, a Japanese person, to help you destroy my own country? Do you think I'll agree? The corners of my mouth curved slightly. I guess when Kusanagi Toki had his accident, your prime minister was probably on Tomita N's side. Right? You're just trying to find a reason for yourself now. Is this reason enough? Or what? You don't want revenge? Kusanagi Unkyo's expression straightened. The look in his eyes as he looked at me became extremely complex. The person in front of him really was like a god. Even the human heart can be read. That's reason enough. I will help you achieve what you want. I tossed the potion in my hand towards the opposite side. A smile of successful scheming already appeared on my face. Seeing the glass test tube being thrown, Kusanagi Unkyo suddenly felt a burst of panic. His hands trembled uncontrollably. I hope you didn't lie to me. Then he downed the liquid in the test tube in one gulp. A sudden, immense pain caught Kusanagi Unkyo off guard and he let out a muffled groan. He endured the intense pain in his body with trembling, and didn't make another sound. Soon, changes began to occur. On Kusanagi Unkyo's bald head first, strands of pure white hair, as fine as silk, began to grow densely. The old clothes he was wearing burst apart all at once, revealing a very well-proportioned body. Looking at this naked body, the gazes of Zhou Shuliang and I involuntarily turned to the same place. It seems that in this aspect, we Azure people have a slight advantage. Fortunately, this embarrassing scene was already unknown to Kusanagi Ungyo, the person involved. Immediately following, Kusanagi Ungyo's back actually began to slowly reveal a pattern like a tattoo. The pattern was entirely jet black. Almost completely covered Kusanagi Kumoi's back. An 8-headed serpent. Could this be the Yamada no Orochi from Japanese mythology? Are these mythological monsters actually real? Then another pure white mask engraved with a demon pattern appeared. Finally, as strangely shaped weapon, resembling both a katana and a longsword, was thrust into the wall. Creation complete. Please name the anomalous sequence 012. Watching Kusanagi Kumoi's bizarre evolution, I thought for a moment. Let's call it Demon Sword. Anomalous sequence 012, Demon Sword. Successfully recorded into the Anomalous Archive. Initial rank, SSS Class Peak. Replicable abilities. Blade Needle. EI. 8 Chi Demon Arts. Demon God Death Dance. 1 Sword Yin Yang. Seeing the system panel's introduction, my pupils couldn't help but light up. After waiting so long, it's finally paid off. Now I can finally inherit back my SSS Class Peak state. The highest inheritable level has reached SSS Class Peak. Creation points required, 5,000. Almost at the same moment, 2 SSS Class Peak auras spread out from the desolate mountain. Silence enveloped the entire South Hiroshima. I took the lead in controlling my aura and retracting it. I slowly walked to the side. Kusanagi Kumoi, still familiarizing himself with his power, in shock. How does it feel to be back at your peak? Kusanagi Kumoi took a deep breath. After returning to his original state, his tone still contained a hint of suppressed excitement. Even in my prime, I definitely couldn't beat my current self. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Hearing Kusanagi Kumoi's address, although it sounded a bit forced, I still surprisingly raised my eyebrows. Rare. You actually call me that one day. Wanyan. Kusanagi Kumoi seemed to have anticipated this and immediately gritted his teeth and turned away. Not looking at my probing gaze, I happened to catch the other party's extremely red face due to embarrassment. I couldn't help but find it funny in my heart. Such thin skin. If you knew that was hide just now. Hearing these words, Kusanagi Kumoi looked confused. Just as he was about to ask what it meant, Zhou Shuliang in the distance coughed. In an unnatural way. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but turn up. It looked like he was about to burst out laughing again. All right. Don't ask. Knowing too much isn't good for you. Tonight's dark and windy night is perfect for bloodshed. Let's go. Don't say I didn't give you a chance for revenge when the time comes. Hearing these words, the expression on Kusanagi Kumoi's face instantly vanished, replaced by a long-suppressed resentment that finally had the confidence to be released. Honda Fuchi not only crippled him, but also brought people to slaughter his entire family. To say he doesn't resent or rage. No normal person could do that. But because he knew the terrifying strength of an SSS-level peak, Kusanagi Kumoi couldn't see any chance for revenge. So he could only hide in this small, dilapidated temple, using daily and nightly worship and scripture reading to conceal the hatred for his enemies in his heart. Originally, he thought his remaining life would probably be spent with this broken Buddha statue. But he didn't expect this unexpected person to bring hope for a path to light to him, who was in the depths of despair. The scene changes to the other side. This is not only the top school in the Empire of Japan, but also the headquarters of the Knight in Ichi Ryu, and even the location of all the Japanese imperial family, as well as the residence of the imperial prime minister. Therefore, such an important island, the degree of defense, and the number of ability users are the highest in the country. Among them, the contemporary successor of Knight in Ichi Ryu, Ko Honda Tadayoshi, even serves as the great general of the empire, personally guarding the safety of the Japanese imperial family. At this moment, a bloated middle-aged man is restless, pacing back and forth with a nervous expression. When he saw the tall figure walking in from outside the palace, he immediately hurried forward and asked anxiously, General Ko Honda, are those 2 thieves dead yet? Ko Honda Tadayoshi looked at the impatient prime minister and shook his head expressionlessly. No. The Muramasa clan leader is dead. The leaders of the other 3 major schools have all surrendered. The Dongying Island has completely fallen. Hearing Ko Honda Tadayoshi's report, Oda Yoshizane suddenly flew into a rage. He flicked his sleeves and instantly smashed countless exquisite porcelain pieces on the table to pieces. As great Dongying people, how can we surrender to these mere 2 Azure people? After a burst of venting, Oda Yoshizane changed his face like a Sichuan opera mask and asked with a hint of fear, General Ko Honda. Where did those two Azure people go? Looking at Oda Yoshizane's useless appearance. A trace of disdain flashed in General Honda Tadayoshi's eyes. After they left Dongchi, they went all the way to Nongguang. They should be here soon. This calm tone almost scared Oda Yoshizane out of his wits. Baka! How could it be so fast? General Honda. I order you to protect me. I did as you said last time at Kyoto. As long as you protect me, I'll do whatever you want. Honda Tadayoshi frowned. There was already a hint of impatience in his eyes. Just then, a voice that spread throughout the palace suddenly resounded from above. Honda Tadayoshi. Come out and die. This extremely familiar voice made the originally calm Honda Tadayoshi instantly feel a stormy sea in his heart. It's him? How is that possible?